as moot or moot complied, that means it is resolved for the day. You are excused to leave. If you need explanation as to why it's considered moot or moot complied, please call the administrator's office and someone there will explain it to you. Please do not break into an hearing for an explanation of your case. We have quite a long list today, and we need to get through this quickly and efficiently as possible. Everyone deserves a fair hearing and a fair amount of time to represent their case. We do have one matter that will require an interpreter, and that does mean that we have to take a bit extra time and be particularly attentive to the details of the matter. So just ask you to be aware of that. And after the board introduces itself, we will call on the city, on the law department to give us a list of all cases that are probably resolved either through agreements, or if there's a request for continuance or a matter has been withdrawn. So let's begin. And we have a court reporter today, so all of you should be aware that these proceedings are recorded by our court reporter as well as the system. And finally, I would say this to any and everyone who has a case today: this is a formal proceeding, so we expect you to be dressed properly, to quit yourself in an appropriate fashion, no moving around while your case is being heard, no sleeping in bed, no reclining in chairs, that sort of thing. This is not an informal get-together. This is a formal hearing. Thank you so much. Again, I'm Kenneth Woodson, Board Chair.
Ralph Pincus, Board Member.
Steve Pettit, Board Member.
Roger S. Tennant, Senior Board Member.
Beverly Penn, Board Member.
Patton Washington, Board Member.
Cortez Patton, Board Member.
Harry, Board Counsel.
Richard Wade, Board Administrator.
Thank you very much. We will now hear from the law department.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Jim Kelly on behalf of the city. I can read the moots. So starting with number 1, HA 2022-004405, 2700 to 2734 North Broad Street, Giovanni Benavides. That was an advance continuance request from the city. This case may be complied, and so the city just needs more time to make that determination.
So, but you noted it as moot today. Is that the case?
I would no. The city's just asking for a continuance on this case.
Oh, okay. So you're asking for a continuance. Okay.
Yes.
So we noted as continued.
Thank you. Number 2, HA 2022-004451, 4700 Island Avenue, Victor Grady, moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I
Yes.
may, is there a party here on case number 1 so that they know that the continuance has been granted? Mr. Kelly?
I'm not sure. I believe there.
I'm here on behalf of the property owner. I'm sorry, Attorney Samantha Katz. I believe my client, if he was let in, should also be in the room.
Okay, but you're representing the appellant in this matter. That's number 1. And so you concur with the request for continuance?
If you're saying it's necessary, we've tried to be in touch many times to try to resolve it, but haven't heard back. The property's vacant and has been for many years.
But that's not the issue. The issue at the moment is, are you concurring with the city's request for continuance? That's all.
Mr. Kelly, you said the continuance request is that so you can investigate further and be in touch with the property owner or myself?
Yes, one of my colleagues will be in touch.
Yes. Do you have my contact information so that you can reach out to me directly?
I don't.
Hey, had you submitted your appearance for today, Ms. Katz?
I don't believe I have. It was a
do that. And then please do that, and we'll have your information.
Okay. I will look into that.
We're
Thank
speaking of 2700 to 34 North Broad Street. Is that correct, Ms. Katz?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay.
Your client is in the room. He's muted, but he is in the room.
Wonderful. So we may be excused then, and I'll get my
Yes.
appearance submitted. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Let's move on, Mr. Kelly.
I'm not sure if I made it through number 2.
Number 2 is noted as moot, and Victor Grady, is that person present? Or anyone representing Mr. Grady? Okay, and no one's responding, so let's move on.
Number 4, HA 2022-004244, 2958 North Hicks Street, Lawrence Lovelace. That case is moot.
Moot. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Is Mr. Lovelace present? Okay,
Yes.
someone did respond. I think, Mr. Lovelace, this matter is noted as moot. The next two items, the same address, Mr. Kelly, is the same status for those as well?
No, those are not moot. Those are, the city is prepared to go forward on those today.
Okay, now the board does
I'm
have a
confused.
question. Who's
Yes,
speaking?
I'm confused.
Who's
This is
speaking?
Mr. Lovely.
Okay, Mr. Lovelace, are you representing yourself, or do you have an attorney to represent you today? Please unmute Mr. Lovelace.
I
Mr.
think
Lovelace,
he's on the phone, Mr. Chairman. I think he's on the phone. It appears he's on the phone.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
representing myself.
Okay, you can't represent yourself. You need an attorney. I think these are corporate-owned properties.
No, it's not.
How are
This
they
is
owned?
my property.
I'm not
It's
saying
my
it isn't
property.
your property. Is there an LLC ownership here?
Yes, it is.
Okay, LLCs have to be represented by legal counsel.
It doesn't say that. Now.
Yes,
Nobody
it
sent
does.
me
It
that
said we
information.
aren't going to argue about it. Those are the rules of the board, and so we aren't going to hear
I
today. You have to
understand
go
that,
get a
sir.
lawyer. So pay attention to me now,
Oh.
please. You have to get yourself an attorney to represent you in these matters before the board. The first one is listed as moot. The following 5 and 6, 004246 and 004247 will not be heard today because you need legal counsel.
Okay, so what was the previous one that you stated? I only know of two.
004244 is a use registration permit violation. That matter is noted as moot today.
I don't have no knowledge of that.
Okay. What you should do is check with an attorney, but also call the law department and they will discuss it with you.
The law department or how? I don't even have the information.
Mr. Lovelace, you have
I'm
my
only looking at-
contact information. We've been in contact. You can shoot me an email. My name is Jim Kelly. I'm a city solicitor.
All right, okay.
Okay,
Mr.
thank you.
Mr. Chairman, it should be noted that that Mr. Lovelace was only identified via voicemail. We didn't actually see him on the screen. I think it
Okay.
should be, all right?
Thank you. Mr. Lovelace, in the future, please join us via Zoom so we can see your image for a hearing if you return for a hearing.
I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. I
Okay.
will do so.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Kelly?
Yes, the next one, number 7, HA 2022-004379, 1011 Chestnut Street, PMC Property Group, moot.
Moot, thank you.
Number 8, HA 2022-004408, 3517 Haverford Avenue, Frank Gentile, moot.
Moot, thank you.
Number 9, HA 2022-004360, 7180 Ogons Avenue, Main Development Group. The city was able to reach an agreement with the appellant for a city affirm with a $500 fine.
City affirm $500 fine. Okay. We will poll the board on HA-2022-004360, 7180 Ogons Avenue, Main Development Group. City affirm with a $500 fine.
City affirmed per agreement with a $500 fine.
City affirmed per the agreement with a $500 fine.
City affirmed per the agreement with a $500 fine.
City affirm per agreement with $500 fine.
City affirmed per the agreement with a $500 fine.
Thank you. Is
City
anyone?
affirm per-
Wait.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Mr. Patton, don't forget Mr. Patton.
Okay.
I
Sorry
appreciate
about
that, Mr. Washington. City affirm per agreement with the $500 fine.
Thank you. My apologies. Just wanted to know if anyone's present representing the Main Development Group. No one's present. Okay. Thank you. So note the record of the city affirmed with a $500 fine. Thank you very much.
Next one is number 12, HA 2022-004406, 4303 East Roosevelt Boulevard, Jay Pazlowski, moot complied.
Will comply. Thank you.
Number 14, HA 2022-004286, 1327-29 North 18th Street, Rahil Raza, DBA Raza Property Group. I was actually just in touch with the appellant for the first time. He indicated that he does not have an attorney, but we may be able to work out a settlement. prior to that, so this would just be a joint continuance request.
Is this, Mr. Kelly, is this the first request for continuance on this matter?
Yes, it is. I'm not sure if he's logged on, but it is the first request.
Okay. All right, if it comes before the board for hearing, he will have to be represented by legal counsel as well, I
Sure.
believe. Okay, so we'll note it for today as continued.
Thank you. The next one is number 15, HA 2022-004371, 5320 Hedge Street. V. Lechchinsky, moot.
Moot, okay, thank you.
Number 16, HA 2022-004407, 3518 North 24th Street, Adrian Moore Farrar, moot complied.
Moot complied, thank you.
Number 17, HA 2022-004319, 6239 Frankfurt Avenue, Smiley Candy Shop LLC, moot.
Moot, thank you.
Number 18, HA 2022-003251, 1151 East Philena Street, Gerald and Brenda Rice, moot.
Moot, thank you.
Number 19, HA 2022-004199, 1733 67th Avenue, Tanya Patterson, moot.
Moot, thank you.
Number 22, HA 2022-004362, 2248 Sears Street, Medi Indoko, moot.
Moot, thank you.
Number 24, HA 2022-004325, 3445 Braddock Street, Diana Torres. That's also an agreement for a city affirm with a $150 fine.
City Fair, $150 fine.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We'll poll the board on HA 2022-004325, 344 Braddock Street, Diana Torres. Per agreement, city affirm, $150 fine.
City affirm per agreement, $150 fine.
City affirmed per the agreement with a $150 fine.
City affirmed per the agreement with a $150 fine.
City affirmed per agreement, $150 fine.
City affirmed per agreement with a $150 fine. City affirmed per agreement, $150 fine.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kelly?
Thank you. The next one is number 25, HA 2022-004409, 4206 St. Denis Street, Tatiana Kendisovskaya, moot.
Moot. Actually, Mr. Kelly, please read that last name into the record, please. I mean, just spell it. That's all. That's
Okay.
what I meant. Yeah.
KSENDZOVSKAYA.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Number 29, HA 2022-004297, 2162 East York Street, Howard Pinto, moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Number 30, HA 2022-004324, 5501 Whitby Avenue, Martina Sessoms, moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Number 31, HA 2022-004431, 3020 Tyson Avenue, Frank Schluth, moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Number 32, HA 2022-004320, 1926 West Nadro Avenue, Kelly Massey and Stephanie Adams, moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Number 34, HA 2022-004418, 2533 Ellsworth Street, Stephanie Wright, moot.
Okay. One quick correction. I believe the address is 914 North 50th Street. Is that the case?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So let's associate that address with the appeal number.
Yes. I'm sorry, can you say that address again? I just don't have
Nine-
it.
914 North 50th Street.
That's moot.
Okay. Thank you.
And number 35, HA 2022-004333, 4907 Pulaski Avenue, Nakaya Miller, moot.
Moot. Thank you.
And finally, number 37, HA 2022-004313, 1300 West Wishart Avenue, Keith Green. That's an agreement for a city affirm with a 30-day stay of enforcement.
City affirm 30-day stay of enforcement. Okay, thank you very much. We will poll the board regarding HA-2022-004313 West Wishart Street, Keith Green, per agreement, city affirm 30-day stay of enforcement.
City affirmed per agreement, 30-day stay of enforcement.
City affirmed per the agreement with a 30-day stay of enforcement.
City affirmed per the agreement with a 30-day stay of enforcement.
City affirm per agreement, 30-day stay of enforcement.
City affirmed per agreement with a 30-day stay of enforcement. City affirmed per agreement, 30-day stay of enforcement.
All right, thank you very much. Anything else, Mr. Kelly?
I do believe that at least one of my colleagues has a separate request that they
Sure.
would be making.
Who would that be today? I don't see any hands up, so if you can,
Hi, may it please the board, Leonard F. Reuter for the city
Okay.
of Philadelphia.
Mr. Reuter?
Thank you. I have a couple matters on the list. First of all, not in any particular order, with number 21 on the list, HA 2022-004395 at 1600 West Girard Avenue, owners 1600 West Girard Avenue Group Owner LLC, and they are represented by Michael Phillips. Mr. Phillips and I sent in a joint request to continue the matter. We sent that in yesterday. In anticipation of it being granted, Mr. Phillips is not present today, but I believe it's the first continuance request, and we think the matter should resolve before the next hearing.
Okay, well, we'll note that matter is continued.
Great. The other case where we have I have a question, number 33 on the list. This is HA 2022-004280, 5737 Elmwood Avenue. This matter is an appeal from a lack of a use registration permit. I note that the appellant, Duong Lam, who may be here, submitted a permit application, got a refusal, and they have a hearing pending before the zoning board. That hearing is not to be heard until October 25th. So it seems to me that it would make sense to continue this matter pending the outcome of the zoning hearing, which may resolve the case.
Okay, just a couple questions in response. Mr. Lam, are you present, sir? If you are, please unmute. Because we do have a question regarding standing. Mr. Reuter, is Mr. Lam the tenant in the building?
He's a commercial tenant. So,
okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
we don't have any problem with his standing.
Okay, so that would resolve that matter, and if he's a may need corporate representation. But for the moment, we will list it as continued.
Okay, yeah, and I do not see anybody by that name present, nor do I see any unassigned phone numbers, so I guess he's not here.
Okay, we'll note it as continued.
Okay, I do have another matter.
Okay.
Yes, number 11 on the list, HA 2022-004239, 2021 West Westmoreland Street.
Yes.
The appellant is not the owner of the building. The building is owned by an LLC. We're not sure what the relationship is, and we would like to also clarify whether an interpreter is needed for this case.
Sure, I'm on that case. My name is Philip Smoker. I'm the attorney for the appellant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So does the appellant need an interpreter?
No.
Okay. So are you prepared to go forward, Mr. Reuter?
Yeah, I'm prepared to go forward on that.
Okay. Mr. Reuter, are you prepared to go forward in this matter?
Yes. Well, the other thing we were going to ask, if the appellant were here, and it appears they are here, as the city would like to be able to do an interior inspection to be able to determine what the status. We've not been able to do an interior inspection prior to this hearing.
I'd be fine with that. If you want to do that and get a continuance today, that's fine.
Okay. Mr. Reuter, it sounds like you needed a continuance to schedule the interior inspection.
That'd be fine. Yep. So
okay.
Mr. Chairman, we
Yes.
made a note in our preliminary meeting, at least I have a note in my file that there's an issue of timeliness on this, I
Yes.
believe.
That is
on
the
this-
other matter. It's almost 5-6 months untimely. So that's a matter that's of serious concern to the board. And so, Mr. Roddy, I'd like
Yes,
your
we
reaction
were-
to that.
Yes, we do. We agree that the appeal was filed untimely. And again, I believe the appellant initially wrote on the appeal that somehow it wasn't clear whether the claim was that the notice of violation went to the prior owner or something along those lines. But we were going, and again, I mean, it's possible the violations are resolved, which is why we were going to ask for an interior inspection. But we do agree that the matter does appear to have been filed late by
Mr.
quite
Smoker?
a bit.
Mr. Smoker, do you have a response to the issue of timeliness?
No, I do not. No. I mean, but if we could get a continuance and have somebody out to inspect, I think that'd be great.
Okay, except that in fact, if the violations are still in fact, you may not hear the matter given that it was lack of prosecution.
I understand.
Okay, all right, so we'll do that. Based on the request from the city, we will allow a continuance. Please note that the board still retains the right to raise this issue of timeliness if there's another hearing.
So am I excused?
Yes,
Or-
sir, you're excused.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Reuter, is your email leonard.reuter@phila.gov?
It is. Thank you.
I'll reach out to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you have anything else, Mr. Reuter?
Mr.
not-
Chairman, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, should Mr. Smoker be notifying the board of his representation in this matter as well?
Yes, you need to submit your appearance, Mr. Smoker.
Sure, I know. I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, and last thing while you're here, just so the record's also clear, is Mr. Acevedo, is he the principal of Benia?
He is. Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, anything else from anyone? We do have Lee Begelman.
Yes. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Good afternoon. I just have one, maybe two preliminary issues that we may want to discuss when the cases are called, but for appeal number 36, HA 2022-004296 regarding 2616 North 16th Street.
Yes.
There's a standing issue.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if the board would rather address it when the case is called, but there's an issue regarding standing and
Well, let's clarify it now. If Mr. James Simon present?
I believe he is.
Mr. Simon, please unmute Mr. Simon if he's present. Mr. Simon, would you speak up, please? I see his image, but he's still muted. Mr. Simon, can you unmute yourself? Okay, Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
sir. What is your relationship to this property?
My mother owned it. My mother is deceased.
You got a problem. Whose name is on the deed?
My mother, Sophie Simon.
How long has she been deceased?
Oh, 2009.
And you haven't changed the ownership for the official record, have you?
No, not yet.
Not yet. That's a problem, sir. Who's representing the city in this matter?
I haven't got no representation.
No,
yet.
no. You misunderstand, man. Who's the
I'm
city
sorry.
lawyer in this matter?
I am.
Okay, Mr. Begelman, what do you, normally in this instance, we require something more than the person's, oral representation in this issue. What is your position in this?
Because the appellant lacks standing, we'd ask the violation be affirmed. But we're happy to maybe continue this matter. There's something that needs to be worked out on his end, but we'd ask that the violation be affirmed for lack of standing.
Okay, let's do this. Mr. McSherry, legal counsel to the board, do you have a suggestion for us? You're muted, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. It's a matter of, I'm not sure if, continuance would even be enough time, for the appellant here to actually effectuate, letters testamentary or change of ownership indicating that he is in fact the owner of the property as it currently stands. It's unclear if there's other descendants or heirs who would also have an ownership and interest in the property. And I don't believe it would be appropriate to proceed given that's the case. I don't think there's an
Okay.
issue with perhaps a short continuance if there is, you know, possibly a matter that this can be worked out with the city, yeah, outside the purview of the board. But I don't believe it would be appropriate at this stage for the board to hear this matter.
And just to go back to that, the city's comfortable with a continuance so we can work out this matter.
Okay.
Offline.
Okay, Mr. Simon,
Yes.
couple of things. One, I don't know how complicated the estate is for your mother, and so I can't. We can't give you legal counsel. Only thing I can say to you is that the estate should be settled, and clearly someone other than your mother's name must be on the deed for there to be an ability to appeal the violation. And for any other business you want to conduct regarding that property, you have to have that done. So make sure that happens. We will continue this matter, but it's going to be tough for you or anyone else in your family to do anything regarding this unless you get this worked out in terms of the deed. Understood?
You say get caught down to the deed, you say?
No, I'm saying to you that you need to have the ownership of the property clarified. It has to be put in, it has to be put in someone else's name, because at the moment the owner is deceased, and that's the only person who has a right to appeal.
Okay. All right,
So
got
we
you.
have to get it put in his name.
I'm not sure who's speaking. You can't speak off the record because we're on this. Every voice is recorded.
Okay, I'm sorry
It
about
has
that.
it has to be put in whoever the deed or the will or whatever said who would be the owner of the property. I don't know who that is. If that's you or
Okay.
another sibling or family member, we don't know. But it has to be in that person's name before you can appeal an action by the city like this. Understood?
Okay, I understand that part. Yes, but this
Okay.
is for the trash removal, right?
This is for a violation that's regarding trash at that location. So it's regarding a city violation. That's what I can say to you.
Okay. Is there anybody I can talk to or get in touch with so I can try to solve this issue?
You can call the inspector's name and number that's on the violation. Call that person, call L&I if you like, and they can talk to you. But in the meantime, in terms of this hearing, you may want to touch base with Mr. Begelman.
Yes, I will reach out to you, Mr. Simon.
Mr. who?
Mr. Degelman.
Begelman, Begelman.
Amen.
Okay.
I will email you after this hearing, Mr. Simon.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, have a good day, sir.
All right.
Okay, Ms. Curley.
Good afternoon, board. I have two matters before you. I just wanted to.
I'm sorry.
Just real quick. We're marking that as continued.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, Ms. Curley.
You muted, Miss Curley. Miss Curley, you muted.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Two of the matters that I have were listed as emergency hearings. The board granted approval for them to be listed as emergencies. They both involve intents to cease. They are 39 and 41 on the list.
Yes.
I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention because our inspector needs to leave, in the afternoon, latest by 4. And since those are emergency hearings, if they could be moved up in the call list.
Yes, the board has
not at the
considered the
end.
request. We have granted that request. We'll do that.
Great, thank you so much.
Okay, Mr. Johnson.
Good afternoon, distinguished members of the board. I would just like to call the board's attention to appeal number HA 2022-003636. It's number 38 on today's list. And I understand that there has been arranged a Spanish interpreter for this.
Yes.
I don't believe that I see the petitioner on the call, however. So at this point in time, it's 45 minutes into the hearings. I would ask that the board mark the case as city affirmed, failure to appear.
Okay, do you have a witness issue, Mr. Johnson?
Well, yes, I do have an L&I witness, Inspector Alicio, here for that case,
Okay.
as well as I don't want to waste the interpreter's time waiting until
Sure.
the end of the list.
Okay, what I will do after we get through these preliminary matters, I'll come back to you, okay?
Thank
Just want to
you.
get on the preliminary matters out of the way, disposed of. Anything else from anyone?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. My name is David Chandler, along with co-counsel
Okay.
Aon Beck.
I
and,
don't see your image anywhere. Oh, Mr.
oh,
Okay,
here I
now,
am.
yeah. Mr.
Yeah.
Chandler, which matter are you inquiring about?
This is HA 2023-003300. The property is 3076 Kensington Avenue. It's the Best One Convenience Store Incorporated, and Mr. Musad is present. Basically, this the health inspector came in on July 27th.
Wait, but before you start arguing the facts, what is your request?
Well, our request is we'd like to either have an order to so that my client can reopen the store or schedule a quick reinspection. So,
Oh, that means we will address that when we hear the case today.
okay,
Yeah, we're only dealing with preliminary matters. We haven't called your case yet. When we call your case, you can make that request.
okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Do we have anyone else before the board itself does have a few preliminary matters? Okay. Let's do this. We will go down to number 10, HA-2022-004335, 7200 North 21st Street. Who's representing that matter? It's Concerned Black Men is the owner, or the appellant rather.
I'm representing the city on that case. I have not been in contact with anybody from that property. I did reach out, but did not get a response.
Okay. Just note that we'll come back to that pretty quickly, Mr. Kelly. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Let's move down to number 26, HA-2022-004326, 5985 Drexel Road. Who's representing that matter?
Good afternoon, board. My name is Caitlin Carmody, and I'm the certified legal intern with the city, and that's my matter.
Okay. Is anyone here representing Mr. Stephen Ortiz?
He's muted, Mr. Chairman. I see him on my screen.
Okay.
Hello. Hi. Can you hear me, Mr. Chairman?
Okay. And you're Mr. Ortiz?
I'm Stephen Ortiz. Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Ortiz, the property in question, who's the owner of that property?
I am, sir.
Are you the only name on the deed?
I am, sir. Yes.
It's not owned by an LLC or corporate entity or anything?
No, sir. Just me.
Okay. Well, the issue we have, Ms. Connolly, is that it is untimely. And there's July NOV, and the appeal wasn't submitted to October 21st. So, Mr. Ortiz, we need to hear from you. I need you to put your right hand up, please. Do you swear to swear affirm that the testimony you give be the truth so help you God?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Connolly, the issue is untimely, and it's roughly 3 months untimely. Does the city have a position in this?
Due to the fact that it is untimely, the city would request that the appeal be dismissed for lack of timeliness.
Okay, Mr. Ortiz, how do you explain the untimeliness?
So the main issue that started this for me was I didn't receive notification from the city regarding this violation. I did receive something prior to this for a curb from the streets department. It came in the mail. I took care of it promptly. Everything was done. For this, I had no letter or notification from the city, but that wasn't the only issue. I fell into I got very sick. I got hurt first in August.
Okay, if you're going to use that, I just need dates so we know how your illness affected this appeal.
August 20th, I got hurt at work, and I ripped my rotator cuff, which kept me occupied with some doctor stuff and rehabilitation. I have all the documentation needed for that. But worse was on, I think it was October 8th, I suffered a brain stroke, and I was in Lankenau Hospital for 5 days. And I hadn't been feeling good before that. And then I had a brain stroke. And after I got out of the brain stroke, I was pretty much, not able to stuff for like 3 months. I did get the letter. I was home because I wasn't out doing anything. So I tried to take care of this as much as possible. I went down to meet at the LNI office and tried to rectify it right there. I went to the zoning office and I met with them there, and I filled out the application for appeal, which you have.
Okay,
probably.
now the address on Drexel Road, is that the only mailing address that you use?
Yeah. Yeah,
And-
5985 Drexel Road, correct.
And you said the original violation was never mailed to that address.
I did not receive it, sir. I did not receive the violation. Had I done that, I would have responded in a really timely fashion. And I see by the notice of the violation, I received the final notice of the violation, this document, which was representing, telling me that and this was a date of notice of 9/9 that I received. So I had
Okay.
had it.
Okay,
on-
all right. Based
right
on the information you're sharing with us, that at this point, we will hear the matter today, Ms. Conley. Come on.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I note on the violation notice two names. One of them is Stephen Ortiz, and the other one appears to be Elena Korableva. Is that correct? Is that individual an owner of the property as well?
Mr. Pincus, so Elena and I originally purchased the property in 2013. In 2000 and I believe it was 21 or 22, I'm sorry. I refinanced and purchased her share and bought her out. So I own the property solely. And if you go to the property website, it says the grantor for that date would be me. I think it was 3/11 or something for 2022.
Fine, you're saying you're now the legal owner.
The sole legal owner, correct? Yes.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
If I may, board.
Yes.
Pardon the interruption. I'm sympathetic to Mr. Ortiz's situation. There is the one address on file. That is the only address that Mr. Ortiz has. Also, the appeal documents that Mr. Ortiz submitted had both notices of violation. So the city is still going to request that it be dismissed for
Well,
untimeliness.
Sure, we note your objection, and within the discretion of the board, we will proceed today. Okay? All right, thank you. All righty, let's move on to number 27. And that's 38 South Cecil Street. That's HA-2022-004385. Terry McIvor. Okay, who's speaking?
My name is Terry McIvor. I'm the owner of the property.
Okay, ma'am, would you spell that last name, please?
McIvor.
Okay, and that's part of the question was standing. Who's representing the city in this matter?
I am, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, the issue with the board had was the Terry, that name, MCLVOR, was not associated with that property anywhere we could find. So that's why we're raising the issue. Ms. McIvor, are you the only name on the deed of this property?
Yes, sir.
Okay, alrighty. That was the issue. We had a question about standing. So now that that's been clarified, we'll proceed today. Okay. Ms. McIvor, we will call you in order. And actually, yes, your name is correctly spelled on the screen. Okay. And the next one is number 28, 5942 McCallum Street, City Star Pizza. That's HA-2022-004426.
Hi, board. Caitlin Carmody again for the city.
Okay, who's representing City Star Pizza? Anyone present representing City Star Pizza? Okay, it appears that, well, if they aren't ready when we call the case again, the issue here is that it's a corporation, it appears, and they need to have an attorney to represent them. So when it's called again, if they don't appear, we will then take a different set of actions, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. And let's move on to number. Okay, alrighty. So let's do this then. I don't think there's any more preliminary matters to be discussed. So let's move to the list itself. And Mr. Wade, let's do this. Let's call in this order, 38, 39, and 41.
Case number 38, hearing appeal HA 2022-003636, 6108 Belden Street, Garcia, Yael, Mejia. Service was made.
Okay, thank you. Now, I think we have an interpreter for this matter as well. Is there a Spanish interpreter on the line?
Yes, is the interpreter on the line?
Oh, good afternoon, sir. Would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Sir, do you swear or affirm that you will faithfully translate from English to Spanish and Spanish to English the proceedings regarding 6108 Belden Street?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. What I'd like you to do is to announce the case to the owner, Mr. Garcia Yael Mejia.
Excuse me, Chair, this is the court reporter. May I have the interpreter's full name, please?
Okay, thank you.
Yes, my name is Steven, Steven, and my last name is Aubain, Aubain.
Okay, Mr. Aubain, would you mind announcing the case in Spanish, please?
Yes, así que estamos anunciando el caso HA 2022003636 en la calle 6108 Belden Street para el señor García L. Mejía.
Okay, repeat the appellant's name a couple times, sir.
Así que la persona que se llama el García L. Mejía está en la línea.
Okay. Hearing that, no response from the appellant. Mr. Wade, did you confirm that in fact service was made?
Service was made.
Okay. Given that, what time do you have, Mr. Pincus?
2:14 p.m.
2:14 p.m. Okay, thank you. We will now poll the board regarding HA-2022-003636, 6108 Belden Street, Garcia Yael Mejia, Mejia, city affirmed lack of appearance.
City affirmed no appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance. City affirmed non-appearance.
Thank you very much. That matter has been disposed of. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I noticed that Mr. Simon is still on. I know it's an open.
Sure.
I'm just curious whether he knows that his case has already been settled.
Yeah, he knows that, Mr. Simon. You're permitted to leave if you like, but you can always sit. And this is a public hearing, so you're allowed to stay as long as we're here. But your case has been continued for today. You're muted, but that's okay. You don't need to respond. Just want you to know you can leave if you choose to. Okay, let's go to number 39.
And do you require further interpretation?
No, the interpreter.
There is another case.
There is another case? Oh, okay. So, Mr. Oban, we need you to hang around a little bit.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's move on to number 39.
39, hearing appeal HA 2023-003-431, 4235 through 37 Germantown Ave, Stephen Duffus Doyle.
That's 4235 Germantown to 37?
Yes.
Okay, who's representing the city?
This is Caroline Curley on behalf of the city.
Okay. Who's representing Stephen Duffus Doyle?
Good afternoon, Board. Daniel McClevidge on behalf of the owner, Club Limitless, and Stephen Duffus Doyle.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. Let's do this. Let's see, for the city, do you, Ms. Curley, have any witnesses for today?
Yes, Board. We have Inspector Natasha Lee, who is present here today.
Okay.
Board, before we begin, I did submit a continuance request on Friday. Before we begin the substance of the hearing, I would ask that we the board rule on our continuance request.
Okay, would you mind putting it on the record, please?
Yes, I'm submitting a continuance request for 2-week continuance. Pardon me. My client is currently working with an accountant to file his city taxes. As the board knows, we can't get this matter resolved on our, we can't apply for renewal of licenses before, the taxes are filed. Currently, we're waiting for the business income and receipts tax ID from the city. I believe it's Mr. Duffus Doyle does have an accountant he's working with. I believe it's taken longer than expected. My client is ready, willing, and able to pay the taxes and come into compliance. However, we just need more time in order to complete the complete and file the city tax returns, pay the taxes, and come into compliance and apply for the licenses. Today is the first listing of this matter. There is no prior request for continuances. We're just asking for a short 14-day continuance. From my understanding from the accountant, my client's accountant, he expects that we should have the last piece of information, which is the business income and receipts tax ID within the next week. So, upon receipt of that information, my client's accountant will file the taxes, and my client advised that that he's ready, willing, and able to pay all taxes. So again, we're asking that the court kindly grant our request, which again, I reiterate is this is a first listing.
Ms. Curley, what is your response?
So board, the city is going to object to that. This was appellant's request for an emergency hearing. Importantly, this was an intent to cease. So appellant intends to keep operating while they request this continuance, and it's important that this matter be heard today so that the cease can be into effect. This would lead into the city's primary argument as an initial matter. There's no basis for this appeal today. By appellant's admission through their counsel just now, they are not in a position where they have or are able to obtain the amusement or special assembly license needed to operate as a nightclub, nor did they plead anything in their appellant paperwork or appeals paperwork, that they have the license, that the license would be obtained before the cease went into effect. And again, by their own admission, they do not have the license today, so they cannot be allowed to operate beyond today's hearing.
Okay, thank you. City, are you prepared to proceed today?
We are prepared to proceed.
Okay, Mr. Mekowitz, are you prepared to proceed today?
We would be asking for again a short 2-week continuance. So
okay, I've heard that request. But we're going to proceed today. So we're going to proceed in the hearing. Given the nature that I don't believe the issue with the Revenue Department and payment of taxes has would prevent your operator, your client, from presenting a case today. So the issue is either have a license or you don't. That's what it comes down to. You may have an argument as to why you don't, but we need to hear the argument before we rule. Okay, so we've called the case. We're prepared to proceed. Do you have any witnesses, Mr. Mekowitz?
No, sir, I do not.
I must apologize to you, sir. I've mispronounced your last name. What's the correct pronunciation, please?
It's McClevich.
McClevich. Okay, my apologies.
No problem.
Okay, Ms. Curley, let's proceed.
Board, I just ask as an initial matter to rule, Mr. McClevich is saying he has no witnesses and is therefore unable to meet his burden for the appeal and has not pled that they have a license today. I'm happy to present the witness, but I think based on the admissions made just now, there's no basis to proceed.
Well, I think I'd like you to make a record of the proceedings, given the nature of this case, and we've asked for cease operations and the fact that this is an emergency hearing. I'd like there to be some record of this.
Okay, no problem. Inspector Lee, can you hear me when you're present?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I need to swear her in.
Yeah.
Inspector Lee, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear a firm testimony you give today? So help you God.
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. My apologies. Your screen is a bit foggy. I don't know if that's something on your side or not.
Is that a little better?
Slightly, but okay, that's better. Thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Curley.
Inspector Lee, can you state your employer, please?
Licenses and Inspections, City of Philadelphia.
And what's your position with the city?
I am a code enforcement inspector.
Okay. And are you familiar with the property at 4235 to 37 Germantown Avenue?
Yes, I am.
Okay. How are you familiar with the property?
I performed an inspection at that property on June 30th, 2023.
And you've also had the opportunity to review the department records associated with this property?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Board, with your permission, I'm going to share my screen.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. Okay. And board, can everyone see?
Yes.
Okay, great. Just as an initial matter, City Exhibit 1 is just a copy of appellant's appeal. I just asked that to be incorporated into the record. And Inspector Lee, were you able to do a search of the license? Actually, strike that. For the board's information, what kind of property are we talking about at 4235 Germantown Avenue?
So this is a 3-story commercial property. On the first floor, it's a sit-down restaurant. They have an occupant load of 113 people, and they also have zoning for live entertainment. There's a private club on the second floor, and there's I believe an extension of that private club on the third floor.
So I'm actually just going to scroll down first. Sorry about that. To City Exhibit 6A. This is the property we're talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you took those photographs?
I did.
Okay. And 6B, this is also the property?
Correct.
It's a large, a large property spanning the corner position on the block?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And City Exhibit C, likewise, that's just another angle of this property, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's a large building?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm going to go back up. Were you able to do a search of the current licenses held by this business?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And looking at City Exhibit 2A, does that reflect that search?
Yes, currently they have an inactive amusement license and a recently expired food license.
Okay, Miss Curley, would you mind magnifying that a bit, please? Yes, thank you.
Okay. So looking at license number 866635, the amusement license you referenced, that shows, what is the expiration date for that license?
So the expiration date for that, it should be 4/21/2023. I know we see the effective date, but it's kind of hard for me to.
Oh, sorry, can you not?
Yep.
Sorry, it's a little magnified. Yeah, so all the way to the right is the expiration date that you just referenced.
Yes, which is April 21st, 2023.
Okay. And do they currently have a special assembly occupancy license?
No, they have never obtained a special assembly license under their current under the current name of the licensee, which is Club Limitless. And it appears that it changed ownership around October 28th, 2019. They've never acquired one.
Okay. And we also see from here that their
Hello?
food prep license is also expired. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. That is not contained in this, that's not the basis for this cease or the violation notices issued. They'll receive a new violation notice for that. Is that correct? Okay.
They actually do have, I issued a new violation for the lapsed food prep license.
Okay. As of today, when you did it, were you able to do a recent search current to today in preparation for today's hearing? Do they have an amusement license or a special assembly license?
No, they do not.
Okay. And do they need that to operate?
Yes, they do. They're a special assembly occupancy, so they do need both the special assembly license and the amusement license.
And just in general, can you explain to the board what that license is?
So the special assembly license is required when there's social entertainment like dancing, live music, or DJs, and the establishment has lawful occupancy over 50. The license application, it generates a fire safety inspection where we assess the building's means of egress, the existing fire protection, capacity limits, emergency procedures, and housekeeping. This ensures that the event or venue meets minimum safety standards.
So you kind of already anticipated my next question about why these licenses are so important when they're going to operate. Is there anything you didn't cover you want to expand on about the licensing process?
No, just pretty much the same thing. The license application generates the inspections, which ensures that the business and activity meets minimum life safety codes and standards. So pretty much the same thing.
And when they submit a special assembly license, does it also get reviewed in addition to the Department of License and Inspection, but by the local police department?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And as of today, has any of that happened to your knowledge?
Not at this time, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And 2B, I'm just showing is on the top, I don't know if you can see it, it's in the top center. This is the actual copy of the amusement license itself.
Yes.
Okay. This also reflects the expiration date of April 21st, 2023.
Correct.
And I'm just going to scroll through. Do you recognize City Exhibit 3A?
Yes, that's the intent to cease notice that was generated for this.
Okay, and it's dated, it might be a little
Dated
small.
August 7th, 2023.
Okay, and it cites the reason for the cease, which is what we've been talking about today, the special assembly license and the amusement license.
Correct.
Okay. And 3B, this was also the notice of intent to cease delivered to the occupant, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And Exhibit 4 and all its subparts, do you recognize this?
Yes, that's the initial notice of violation.
Okay. And this likewise, this is dated July 4th, 2023, correct?
Correct.
And likewise, this indicates that the violations for the amusement license and the special assembly license, correct?
Correct.
4B is another copy just to the actual physical location.
Correct.
And a final NOV was also issued in 5A.
Correct.
This reflects that as of the date, I think August 8th, 2023, these violations have not been corrected.
Correct.
Okay. 5B, same violation notice, just to the business address.
Correct.
I think you already said this, but as of today, any of these licenses, have they been obtained?
No, not at this time.
And is it still the department's intention to cease the property due to those licenses? Okay, I have nothing else, board. I would just ask for the admission of city exhibits 1 through 6 and all its subparts.
So move. Thank you. Mr. Makovich, do you have any cross-examination?
No, sir, I just have argument.
Okay, before we get to that, any further witnesses, Ms. Curley?
No, board, thank you.
Is there any way, as the owner,
who's that speaking? Somebody speaking.
Sir? How you doing, sir? My name is Stephen Duffus. I'm the owner of the property.
Okay, sir, you have an attorney who's representing you.
Yes, I do.
If your attorney hasn't called you as a witness and you haven't been sworn, do you need an opportunity to speak with your client, Mr. Makovich? You can go in a breakout room if you need be.
You know what? If the board would hold this matter and give me an opportunity to speak with Mr. Duffus Doyle.
Okay, I tell you what, we will go off the record for this is 2:30. We will go off the record until 2:35.
Okay.
Okay, and to go back on the record.
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, this is a continuation of case number. My apologies, I need to change glasses. This is continuation of case number HA-2023-003431, 4235-37 Germantown Avenue. Now, Mr. Makovich, do you have a need to put a witness on, Mr. Duffus Doyle?
Yes, I will have Mr. Duffus Doyle briefly explain, briefly testify.
Mr. Chairman, before he does that, I assume he has no cross-examination of Inspector Lee?
Yes, I asked that earlier, Mr. Makovich. Would you confirm that?
Yes.
Okay.
Then I have a question or two. I just want to
please.
Confirm my understanding that according to the testimony, there is no special assembly license that was in effect or up for renewal. Is that correct? There may have been one a while ago, but there isn't one, or there wasn't one in effect for the last year or so on the property. Is that correct, Inspector Lee?
Correct.
And that the amusement license expired on April 21, 2023, and it's customarily incumbent upon the holder of the license to submit a renewal application. Is that correct, Inspector Lee?
Correct.
And there was not one renewal application submitted, and your violation notice, first time for failure to obtain the license was issued on July 4th of 2023 for both licenses, the one that was expired as well as the one that wasn't even in effect on the property, the amusement license and the special assembly license. Is that correct?
On June 30th, I wrote a violation for both of the licenses lapsing.
On June
So
30th.
I wrote violations for the special assembly license and the amusement license on the same day.
And
I see.
and to clarify, the date of the notice is July 4th. The inspection happened on June 30th.
My apologies, yes.
So when did the Club Limitless LLC, their violate, did they receive a notice on the day that you went to the property on June 30th?
So they wouldn't receive a notice the same day. We have to come back and generate a case, and then it has to be mailed to the owner.
So
But
they received their notice in early July.
I'm assuming whenever they received it by mail, yes, it would have
Okay.
been.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. If there's nothing else of this witness, let's now move to Mr. Mulkevich. Mr. Doyle, Duffus Doyle, if he's going to testify, I need to see his image clearly, and then we'll need to swear him in.
Yes. Okay. I'm about to move to a lighter area. Can you see me now, sir?
Yes, that's better.
Okay.
And if you could bring the device closer to your face so we can see your profile. Okay.
Okay.
Would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mulkevich?
Good afternoon, Mr. Duffus Doyle. First, I want to start by asking you: is there anything in particular you would like the board to know today?
Okay. Yes. I want the board to know that with the business itself, as in Club Limitless, is the holder of the building in the LLC. High Tide is the liquor license. Some of the liquor, some of the licenses we receive as an assembly license and the other license were attached to the liquor license that was attached to the building. The reason why we didn't get all our licenses yet is not because we're playing or we don't want to do the right thing, because we never would have got the license to begin with. It's just that the tax information that we bought when we purchased the building and purchased all the stuff off the last owner, we had to transfer his LLC and his liquor license right over to me. So when we did that, we don't have the tax information to log in to pay the taxes, and that is what's stopping us from obtaining all the licenses. So I have my accountant, I have you, Dan, I have everybody doing everything in their power to hurry up and do it. So we're trying our best. I have all the money separated for the taxes. Every fine y'all give us, I pay for it. I'm not intentionally doing this. I know I don't want my business to stop. I sell breakfast every day. We just figured out all the information to get the health license. I put that in as well and pay all the money. So we should have our health license tomorrow. That just got expired a couple of days ago, when we just received that because we was trying to figure out everything with the licenses. But I'm just trying to explain to the board that it's not intentional. I'm not trying to like get over or beat the system. I have no problems following the rules or doing anything to make things right. It's just that it's out of my hands completely because the person we purchased it from didn't give us all the information, the log in for the tax information to be able to do it. So I'm running behind a whole nother individual who never was open. And when I purchased it, this is my first time ever obtaining a business like that. I did not know that his taxes, me buying the entity off of him, his taxes will be my taxes. I never knew that, and I never was coached or taught that. So now that I know what's going on, I'm doing everything in my power. I'm even paying for stuff that he messed up just so I can get in the system to be able to fix everything. And that's what's going on. I want to apologize if it's causing Ms. Lee.
Okay. At this time, the city's just going to object as this is calling for narrative, and it's gone.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's narrow the conversation down. Now, Mr. Duffus, you indicate a name of a person you bought the business from. Who is that again? Who did you buy?
I bought it from the old owners of Club Blue. So it was his wife and him. So I bought it, but the liquor license was High Tide.
Wait. High, spell that. High Tide or High Tide?
High Tide is HOATAH, and High Tide is the liquor license that's attached to the building.
Okay. And the liquor license, you're saying controls the other licenses for the city?
Certain licenses too. Yes, because
So I'm
I
gonna
got
object at this point. It's well beyond the scope of today's hearing. Also,
Understood.
legally
Your objection is noted. I just wanted to get some clarification. Now, Mr. Mulkevich, do you have any further questions of Mr. Duff Stoyle?
Mr. Duffistoy, why did you not obtain the proper licenses prior to today's hearing?
I'm just gonna object as asked and answered at this point.
So noted.
I have not
I can
asked
answer
that
the question. I can
I
answer the question?
overruled the objection, so please proceed.
Okay, the question was why didn't I get the licensing, correct?
Correct.
I can't get into the Eclipse system. They're saying that our Texas information is not up to date, and if your Texas is not up to date and you don't clarify the liquor tax or the city taxes or the wages are getting all the paperwork and everything situated to get the login, they won't let you. They will block everything out and won't let you renew everything. So that is what's holding me up. And my accountant is on it, and he should be done in the next couple of days. I just need a little bit more time.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Duffistoy.
Okay, any cross-examination, Ms. Curley?
No, board, thank you.
Okay, anyone else have any questions for Mr. Duff Stoyle?
Yeah, just for clarity, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
did you just testify that you are selling food without a license?
Me, sir?
Yes.
No, the health license just expired, so I'm renewing it. I have all my licenses for the kitchen, so my kitchen is fine. It's just that, I guess is whatever license that it has to be renewed. So I'm in that grace period, I think, to renew it, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm renewing it right now, and I filed it and renewed it, and it went through. So I guess I could get the paper any day now. I don't know how it works. Usually they print the paper on the spot, but I'm in that time frame of renewing it.
Okay. Mr. Doyle, is this the first business of this type that you've owned in the city of Philadelphia?
Yes, I do a lot of real estate. I buy.
I just want yes or no. Yeah, yes or no.
No, sir. I never did a business like this. No.
Okay, but you do own other businesses in the city of Philadelphia.
Rental properties. That's it, sir.
Okay, but that's you're in a real estate business as well. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Anything else from anyone?
Yes, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Mr. Duffus Doyle, you mentioned in your testimony that when you purchased the building from the previous owner, you were unaware about this tax issue. When did you purchase the building?
I purchased the building in 2019, but we weren't open. The liquor license wasn't transferred until 2021. So we didn't. Everything was in safekeeping until we opened the business. And then when we opened the business, that's when everything started running again, because the liquor license is safekeeping. You can't use it. You can't do nothing with it. So once you took it out of safekeeping, that's when you have to start paying taxes to be able to get everything situated.
And when did you take it out of safekeeping?
We opened up October. We opened up April. Well, our year mark was just April 26th. That's when our year mark, and that's when the license and everything had to be renewed.
But you haven't answered her question.
Answer my question. My question was, when did you take the license out of safekeeping? If you're testifying that your anniversary is April of 23, that means you started in April of 22. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So when you opened in April of 22, you took no steps to determine whether or not all your licenses were up to date, or that you had all your fees paid?
Ma'am, it wasn't no fees because everything was zeroed out because he had it in safekeeping. So we didn't have nothing to pay for. It was nothing, no taxes or anything on it. So now that with the year passed and now we're going through everything, for us to log in a system, they have the login information. We don't. So we just had the license, everything was transferred, and now every day when we was selling liquor or selling food, that accumulated the taxes and the wages from employees and everything like that. And now it came to the year mark, we have to renew the licenses. So now when we go in the system, they're blocking us out, saying we can't.
Okay, sir, that's the same response you gave before. Anyone else have any questions?
I'm sorry,
Mr. Doyle. Did you have legal counsel and accountants before you purchased this business? Advising
I did not.
Okay.
I did not.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. If no one else has anything, we'll just have final argument then from Mr. Mulkevich and then Ms. Curley. Mr. Mulkevich?
Yes, board. as you can see, my client is motivated to come into compliance. Listen, I can't argue that, I have a renewed license I can present to the board today. I'm unable to obtain that license until we get the tax situation cleared up. All I'm asking the board to do today is to give us some additional time in order to come into compliance. My client has resolved to get the appropriate professional help in order to resolve his the outstanding tax issue, and he's ready, willing, and able to pay it. So it's my belief that upon filing and payment of the taxes, we should be able to come into compliance. I expect that we should be able to do so within 2-week time frame.
Thank you. Ms. Curley?
Yes, thank you, board. So importantly, the city code requires any business operating the way Club Limitless wishes to operate, namely as, a nightclub and food providing establishment. They must have an amusement license and especially a special assembly license and a food prep license prior to doing any of those things. The board simply has no authority to extend that period of time or lift that requirement so they can operate while they don't have a license. The fact of the matter is they do not have a license. And I would also go further by saying that while there was much discussion about the tax issues, Inspector Lee did testify credibly about the follow-up important safety inspections that need to happen as a part of the special assembly occupancy license process. So there will be additional inspections. There will be feedback from the police department. This is not something that is probably going to get resolved in 2 weeks. And without any of those inspections, without that process, this nightclub simply should not be allowed to operate for public safety reasons. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We will now hold the board regarding HA-2023-003431, 4235-37, Germantown Avenue, Stephen Duffus Doyle, City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed. City affirmed.
Okay, unanimous vote, city affirmed, which means you've lost your appeal. Mr. Milkovich, my apologies. As you know, you have every right to appeal our decision. And so, please, if that's your choice, you have a right to do that. Thank you very much for your participation. You excuse. Have a good afternoon.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
Okay. Do you need to, Ms. Curley, does your inspector, is that she here for the next matter as well?
I don't believe so. If she has nothing further, she is free to go.
Okay, thank you.
And I did just another administrative matter, board. I'm so sorry. Number 40 is also, I believe, an emergency appeal. And my colleague, Dejanay Davis, also has a timeliness issue that is actually more urgent than mine. So I would just ask, if possible, if number 40 could proceed before 41.
Okay, all righty. We will switch the order then, Mr. Wade. Call number 40.
Case number 40, hearing appeal HA 2023-003300, 3076 Kensington Avenue, Lua Abdullah Masad.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, David Chandler and Hayon Beck. We're counsel for the appellant. And
okay, sir, hold on a moment, Mr. Chandler. Hold on just one moment.
Yes.
I'd like the city to counsel person, I'm sorry, my apologies. Legal counsel representing this case for the city to put her name on the record.
Good afternoon, board. Dejanay Davis on behalf of the city of Philadelphia.
Okay, Ms. Davis, do you have a witness today that I need to swear?
Yes, the city has 2 witnesses, but before we can proceed, the city would like to address the threshold matter with regards to standing in this case.
Okay, all righty. Please
yes.
make your argument.
Yes, if I may proceed, Chairman, the appellant, the name of the appellant with regards to this matter, the city has a good faith basis to believe that this appellant is actually not a part of the actual LLC, which actually owns the establishment, nor are they the property owner, and therefore the city will argue that they don't actually have standing with regards to this matter. And quite frankly, the city is not really sure what the appellant's relationship is to the actual LLC that's in question.
Okay, Mr. Chandler, what's your response?
Well, the name of the appellant is Ezzeddin Musad, and he is the manager, and not the manager, I'm sorry, he's the owner. He's the owner of the corporation.
Okay, now he's the owner of which corporation?
He is the owner of the business itself, which is a Best One Convenience Store Incorporated.
Okay, so he's the owner of the corporation that owns the convenience store located where?
It's 36, I'm sorry, I have so many papers here. 3076 Kensington Avenue, and the zip code is 19134.
Okay.
The owner of the building is not involved.
Okay.
If
Ms.
I may,
Davis?
yeah, if I may, Chairman, as you will see provided by the exhibits that the city provided to the board as well as to appellant, this individual is nowhere listed as associated with this LLC. With regards to inspection report, his name is not listed. With regards to the licensing, his name is also not listed. We have not been provided any information that demonstrates that the actual appellant named with regards to this matter is in fact the owner of this LLC or even a member. It was, and again, we're not really sure as to the validity of opposing counsel's statement that this individual is in fact the owner.
Okay, Ms. Davis, I would ask this, and maybe the inspector can help with this. Any of the licenses, food prep license, any other business owned licenses associated with this location in this appellant's name, a corporate name?
I have two witnesses for this matter. I had Jody Wilkins and Inspector Nashawn Weldon.
Okay, let's bifurcate this hearing then.
Yes.
Let's have the first part will be strictly narrowly focused on standing. After standing has been determined, we will then move on, if we need to the broader matter at question. Okay.
Yes. So
Okay, but before you do that, I just want to ask Mr. Chandler. Mr. Chandler,
Yes.
please understand the way we will do this, and if you have witnesses, I need to swear them in.
Yes.
We're going to, the first part of this hearing will be strictly focused on the issue of standing.
Okay.
And that means we'll need to have verifiable evidence that in fact your client is the appropriate person that has standing to bring this matter. Once that's been decided, we will then hear the broader matter. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Thank you. Do you have a person to be sworn, Mr. Chandler?
yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Chandler.
Yes.
Yes, I have Mr. Lua Musad.
Okay, put him on the film, please, on the camera so we can swear him in.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, if I
Yes.
may, I just want to clarify for the record, maybe I didn't hear it, but the documentation has an appeal submitted by the Bach, B-A-I-K law firm, and lists Hey Yeon Bach as counsel. And I heard Mr. Chandler say he's co-counsel. I just wanted to confirm that, and maybe Ms. Davis is also aware, is what happened to the Bach law firm on this matter?
Mr. Chandler, would you mind to respond quickly to that?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, Hayon Beck is the owner of the firm, and we're co-counsel in here. And Ms. Beck is she's present also.
Yes, I'm present.
Okay, Mr. Pincus, did that satisfy your inquiry?
Yeah. Mr. Chandler said she's the owner's lawyer, if I heard him correctly. So the owner has a representative here at the hearing.
No. I misunderstood. Mr. Chandler, is that in effect what you're saying, that Ms. Beck represents the owner of the building? Or she?
Well, our firm represents the owner of the building. Actually, it's another matter. But
Okay, who represents the appellant? Who is the owner of the business?
Ms. Beck represents.
Well, I need Ms. Beck then to be the one representing the owner of the business, not yourself.
He said he's co-counsel.
I will enter. I'll enter my formal appearance at the hearing. So.
Okay. All right. We just need to make sure we're talking to the person who's representing the interests of the appellant.
Yes.
Okay. And you're affirming that is in fact yourself.
Yes.
Yes, both
Okay.
Ms. Beck and I.
Okay, so what we will need before we go any further, I'd like Ms. Beck to come on the record to enter her appearance.
Hi, my name is
We
Helen.
don't see you, ma'am. We have to see you.
Yeah. Hi,
Okay, please give us your name and your representation.
yeah, hi, my name is Helen Beck, also known as Heian Beck, and I am the principal of the Beck Law Firm, PC, along with I represent, along with David Chandler, we represented the best, what is the best one?
It's the,
Convenience store.
yeah, Best One Convenience Store
Store.
Incorporated.
Okay, thank you. Now, let's go to the person who will be the witness for you, and that is, give us his name and his relationship to this matter.
Okay, Mr. Masad, could you, what is your name, sir?
Lua Abdullah Musad.
Okay, Mr. Masad, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
Okay, thank you. You can put your hand down. Okay, Ms. Davis, which witness do you have today?
I have Jody Wilkins and Inspector Nashawn Weldon.
Okay, which one will you need both for this first part of this hearing?
Yeah, I think both will be able to provide some additional clarity with regards to this issue.
Okay, Ms. Wilkins, are you on screen yet? Please, if you are present, please identify yourself and the other inspector's name?
Inspector Nashawn Weldon.
Inspector Weldon. I don't see either of those persons.
He just turned his camera on. He's muted.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, and where is the other person?
I'm here.
Jody Wilkins. Okay,
Yeah, I'm here.
but both of you raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God? Ms. Wilkins?
I do.
Mr. Weldon?
I do.
Thank you. You can place your hand down. Okay, this is how we will do this. And Mr. Chandler, how we normally operate in this administrative hearing process, the city puts on this case first. Witnesses, you have an opportunity to cross-examine them. Then you will put on your case with cross-examination by the city. There will be closing argument, and then we will have a vote. And again, we will focus this first part of the hearing narrowly on the issue of standing. So, Ms. Davis, please proceed.
Yes. I will start with Ms. Wilkins. I'm sorry. Good afternoon, Ms. Wilkins. Can you just briefly state your position to the board?
I am a sanitary supervisor with the City of Philadelphia Health Department, tobacco enforcement.
Okay, and with regards to this proceedings regarding the property located at 3076 Kensington Avenue, have you gotten a chance to review public records and L&I records with regards to this property?
Yes.
Okay, and based upon your review of the records, and also did you get a chance to review the appellant's appeal with regards to this matter?
Yes.
Okay, and based upon your review of the records, can you tell the board whether or not the name of the listed appellant is provided anywhere with regards to the department's records as it pertains to the establishment at Best One Convenience Store?
I don't see that information. I only know it as Best One Convenience Store. So I don't know who the operating officer is on the entity.
Okay. And at this time, I would like to question Inspector Weldon.
Oh, okay. Before you move on, Mr. Chandler, do you have any cross-examination of Ms. Wilkins?
Not of Ms. Wilkins, no.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed, Ms. Davis.
Yes, good afternoon, Inspector Weldon.
Good afternoon.
Can you just please briefly state your position to the board?
A health sanitarian.
And what are some of your duties as a health sanitarian?
Some of the duties involve going to facilities as far as daycares, food establishments, things of that nature, and basically we conduct an inspection on not just the food, but the facility as a whole.
Okay, and are you familiar with the establishment Best One Convenience Store?
Yes.
And you familiar with this convenience store located at 3076 Kensington Avenue?
Yes.
And did you also review the public records as well as the health department records and L&I records with regards to this establishment?
Yes.
And did you also get a chance to review the appellant's appeal with regards to this matter today?
Yes.
Now, based upon your review, and just to be clear, with regards to this matter, can you also inform the board how you're familiar with this establishment?
So I was stationed at 7-1, which is Kensington Avenue, and I was the health inspector for that area.
Okay. Now, upon your review of all the documentations, is the appellate name that is listed with regards to this matter listed anywhere on the health department's records or L&I's records?
No.
In fact, based on your recollection, can you inform the board as to the name of the corporate officer of this entity?
I can't.
Okay. If I were to show you your inspection report, would you recognize it here today?
Yes.
Permission to share my screen, Chairman?
Yes, please.
Inspector Weldon, can you see my screen?
Not yet. Now I can, yes.
Okay. Let the record reflect I'm showing Inspector Weldon what is City's Exhibit C2. Can you tell the board what C2 is?
C2 is our standard inspection report.
Okay. And right here, can you see where my hand, where this little cursor hand is?
Yes.
Can you tell the board?
Mr. Chair, could she?
You mind modifying that a little bit? Yes.
You want a bit bigger? My apologies.
Yes, please.
Much better.
Better? Okay.
Yes.
And can you read as best as you can the name of the corporate officer with regards to this establishment?
Gamal G. Alazad.
Okay. And I'm going to just scroll down quickly. Where it says a person in charge, can you read that name as well?
Hamid.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Inspector Weldon, during the course of your investigation at this establishment, at any time did you communicate with the alleged appellant here?
No.
Have you ever met this alleged appellant?
No.
Has this alleged appellant ever tried to contact you?
No.
Okay, I have no further questions for Inspector Weldon.
Okay, any cross-examination?
Yes, Inspector, you inspected the business on July 27th of this year. Is that is correct?
Yes.
Mr. Chandler, I can't see your face. I don't know whether you.
Sorry. Here we go. Okay. So you inspected the premises on July 27th. That is correct?
Correct.
And you issued violations. Is that correct?
Correct.
And did you state in your inspection report that the business was selling tobacco products without a license?
Mr. Chandler, yes, Mr. Chandler, I'd ask that we narrow the examination, this first part, to the issue of standing. Licensing will be the broader issue to discuss if we get there. So do you have any questions regarding standing?
No, nothing regarding standing right now.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'd ask the board to hold your questions for any of the witnesses until we hear the presentation by Mr. Chandler. Mr. Chandler, what do you have to offer in terms of standing?
Well, the standing, if I could ask Mr. Musad.
Okay.
In terms of, let me get him. Okay. Mr. Musad,
yes.
What is your relationship to the business?
It's we own it. It's more of a family business. It's listed under my son, and I run it.
Okay. And who is the appellant? Mr. Mr. Ezedin Musad. Who is he?
That is my son.
That's your son. And does he own the business?
It's under his name, yes.
Okay, it's under his name. Okay. Now, the other gentleman on the list that the attorney mentioned, Mr. Gamal Alazab, who is he?
I believe that was a previous owner, and we changed officers from Jamal Al-Azab to Izzadin. I don't know why they still have Jamal Al-Azab on the report, but it shouldn't have. But
Okay.
that's why.
So Mr. Al-Azab is not involved.
No
with the
longer
business.
involved in any way.
Okay. And are you a manager of the business?
Yes, I run.
Okay. And who is Mr. Ahmed, who is a gentleman at
My
the,
uncle that was working at the time of the seize operation.
okay. I have nothing further for regarding this standing.
Okay, anyone, Mrs. Davis, do you have any cross?
Yes, could you please state your position with the corporation?
Lua Musad, we partners. It's a family business. It's my son's business, and we honest.
So what is your membership or association to the actual LLC?
0%. It's 100% under Izzadin Musad.
Okay, so you're not a member of the LLC whatsoever?
No,
Okay,
I manage it, but not in the LLC, like document, but I manage it.
okay.
Okay,
I have no further questions.
okay, does anyone else have any questions of any of the witnesses? Any follow-up questions from anyone? Okay,
I just need to clarify. The name on this appeal and the request for an emergency hearing is Lua, L-E-W-A, Abdullah, A-B-D-U-L-A, Musad, M-U-S-A-I-D. And that's the gentleman that is speaking and testifying right now, who says he has no interest at all in the actual operator of the business. Is that correct, Mr. Chandler?
Yeah, Mr. Masad.
That's all. You answered my question. Thank you.
okay, so Mr. Masad is not a member of the LLC, but he's in fact, based on testimony, a manager / operator at the building. I think I'm understanding that correct.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Anything else, Ms. Davis?
No, again, I would just argue based on the testimony of appellant, he stated that he is not part of the LLC. He is also not the owner. He is simply just an employee, and therefore the city will reiterate their position that that the appellant named with regards to this matter lacks standing.
Oh, excuse me. And so the argument really comes down to the fact that Mr. Musad signed the appeal, but without counsel was not noted, identified in the appeal application, correct?
Can you repeat that, Chairman? I'm sorry.
The legal counsel was not identified on the appeal form.
My version has maybe a little bit different. I don't see that. I don't see what you're seeing essentially. I do see that they're named as an attorney, but not for the actual establishment, but for the named appellant, who is not a part of the LLC.
Okay. Let's do this. Before I'm going to invite my colleagues to join me in a breakout room, but before we do that, I just want to make sure that we're clear. Mr. Chandler?
Yes.
Your firm represents the corporate owner, the LLC, of the convenience store, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And were you engaged by the corporate owner prior to the submission of the appeal?
Yes.
Okay. Did your firm prepare the appeal?
The emergency hearing appeal? We prepared.
No, the appeal before that.
Oh, yes, yeah, the one that we submitted on before that, yes, the regular appeal.
And who signed the form?
Who signed the
appeal form?
The appeal form? What?
He got the permission from the son to sign it.
Okay, well, according to Mr. Masad, he had permission from his son to sign the document.
Okay, so Mr. Masad signed the appeal. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We're going to take a few minutes in the breakout room. We're going to go off the record. It's 3:13. We should be back on the record, hopefully by 3:20 or so. Okay, thank you. We're going to go on. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. We're back on the record. We've had an opportunity to consider the evidence that's put forth by Ms. Davis representing the city and Mr. Chandler regarding the issue of standing. We've determined collectively that the corporate entity does have standing to bring this appeal, and so we will proceed with the hearing, which will be phase 2 of this matter, which will be the broader issues of the violations. Okay, so what we will do, Ms. Davis, as we normally do, is have you put on your case regarding those issues, and Mr. Chandler, you will have an opportunity to respond and put on your witnesses. Do we have any additional witnesses that need to be sworn before we start?
No.
No.
Okay, all right, thank you. So, Ms. Davis?
Yes, at this time, the city would like to call Inspector Weldon.
Yes.
May I proceed, Chairman?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Inspector Weldon, you already briefly testified to your position. Can you tell the board again how you are familiar with the property located at 3076 Kensington Avenue?
I was the health inspector for that designated area.
And when did you conduct your inspection at that location?
July 27, 2023.
Okay. And why did you conduct an inspection at this establishment?
I received a complaint in the system.
Okay, we missed his. He's something wrong with his signal. It's pretty weak.
Mr. Weldon, can you repeat your answer to that last question? Let me know if you need me to repeat the question.
Yes, can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, can you inform the board why you went to inspect the establishment Best One convenience store?
I received a complaint in the system.
And can you inform the board what that complaint was?
The complaint stated that the establishment is selling tobacco. They have rats, they have roaches. They're selling to underage people.
Okay.
And they do not have a permit. Okay.
Now you said you went to inspect the subject premises on July 27, 2023. Can you inform the board what you observed during your inspection?
During the inspection, upon getting to the facility, Ahmad was at the window smoking a cigarette. I asked him to let me in the facility. Once I finally gained access to the facility, in the facility, there's a door. Under the door, I observed tobacco in the room. Asking him to open the door, he claims it's the owner room, to which, he said the owner wasn't here. Then he changes it to say that it's the landlord's building.
Okay, and just to be clear, did you also take photos of this during your inspection?
Yes.
And would you recognize some of those photos if I were to show you today?
Yes.
Permission to share my screen again, Chairman?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Excuse me.
Please let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. At this time, I want the record to reflect that I'm showing Inspector Weldon what has been marked as City's Exhibit 3. I'm going to scroll down slowly. Inspector Weldon, can you see City's Exhibit 3?
Part of it.
I'm just going to scroll down a little bit more.
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, and can you just tell the board what these two photos are?
The first photo with the plywood door, that is where the tobacco was observed in.
Okay, and after you observed the tobacco, can you also clarify how did you observe the tobacco on the with this door here, or this piece of plywood?
At the bottom of the door, it leaves enough room for you to look under the door, so I observed it with my eye under the door.
Okay, and when you requested access to this area, what was the response to you requesting access to this area?
It's the owner's room.
Okay. And after you've conducted your inspection, what then did you do?
I completed his inspection report, generated the fee, sent the email out saying that the police has ceased.
Okay. I'm going to scroll down to the second photo. Do you recognize the second photo of a City's Exhibit C3?
Yes.
And can you tell the board what this photo is?
Once an establishment is ceased, we are to put the cease operation stickers up after with the establishment information on there.
And can you tell the, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment. Can you tell the board how many cease operation stickers did you put up at this establishment?
3.
Okay. Now, after you you said you ceased this property, can you inform the board why you issued a cease?
Tobacco found on the premises without a tobacco retailer permit.
Now, was it just based on this inspection or other prior dealings with tobacco?
Prior dealings with tobacco.
And to your knowledge, what were the prior dealings with regards to this establishment and tobacco sales or possession of tobacco?
No tobacco retailer's permit.
Okay. And to your knowledge, was this the first time this property had been seized for tobacco without a tobacco permit?
No.
Can you inform the board, to your knowledge, how many other times this property has been seized for the presence of tobacco without a tobacco permit?
2.
Okay. Do you remember those dates in which those the establishment were seized, or around about time?
The one that I can remember is around April 2023.
Okay.
And the second one was a reissue cease on August 2023.
Okay. Now, Inspector Weldon, after you issued this cease to this establishment, to your knowledge, were you made aware as to whether or not this establishment actually complied with the cease?
No.
Okay, and when did you receive information that the property was actually in violation of the cease?
August 17th, 2023.
Okay. And did you review any photos or any documentation to demonstrate that the establishment was operating in violation of the cease?
Yes.
Would you recognize that photo if I were to show you?
Yes.
Sharing my screen again. Let me know when you can see my screen, Inspector Weldon.
Yes.
Let the record reflect I'm showing Inspector Weldon what has been marked as City's Exhibit C4. Can you tell the board what we are looking at right here, Inspector Weldon?
So right now we're looking at the entryway into the I guess the customer waiting area to the facility. If you zoom in right next to where you see the I don't know if there's a cookie box or what type of product box that is, my C sticker is right behind that box.
Okay.
That's covering it.
And at this time, you were made aware of the establishment violating the cease order. Had the establishment complied with any of the requirements to be allowed to operate again?
No.
And just for the record, can you inform the board what those requirements are for an establishment to be able to operate after a cease has been issued?
There's a 315 invoice that must be paid, a compliance plan that must be submitted, and risk factor violations have to be corrected.
Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a moment. So after you were made aware that this establishment was operating in violation of the cease, what did you do next?
I did a compliance check to verify.
Okay. And did you take any photos during this compliance check?
Yes.
And would you recognize that photo if I were to show you?
Yes.
Sharing my screen again. Can you see my screen, Inspector Weldon?
Yes.
Let the record reflect I am now scrolling down to what has been previously marked as City's Exhibit C5. I will enlarge it just a bit because I can't see that. Inspector Weldon, do you recognize Exhibit C5?
Ms. Davis, would you mind enlarging it even more,
Okay.
please?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is that okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, Inspector Weldon, do you recognize Exhibit C5?
Yes.
Can you tell the board what we are looking at in Exhibit C5?
We're looking at the customer waiting area where my sticker was right next to the clerk window where that box is covering.
So I'm just for the record, I'm circling right here where this looks like to be a candy box. I could be misinformed, but this box on the outside of this plexiglass, that is where your cease of operation sticker was placed?
Correct.
What's the date of that photo, Ms. Davis?
Inspector Weldon, can you inform the board the date in which you took this photo?
August 17th, 2023.
Thank you.
Now, Inspector Weldon, after you conducted your compliance check, what, if anything, did you do what was done with regards to this establishment?
Another 315 invoice and a cease operation order is reordered.
Okay, and would you recognize that if I were to show you?
Yes.
Let the record reflect. I'm now scrolling down to Cities Exhibit C6. Inspector Weldon, do you recognize Cities Exhibit C6?
Yes.
And can you tell the board essentially what we are looking at in this exhibit?
We're looking at the violation stating that the facility was open and operating without approval of the health department, and that that the cease sticker was being covered, and that the cease operations order is being reissued.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing at this time. I don't have any further questions for Inspector Weldon.
Okay, Mr. Chandler, do you have any cross-examination?
Yes, I do. But by the way, incidentally, you asked if I had another witness. I had Mr. Ahmed, who was the clerk at the store at the time.
Okay, when you get to the point to put it on your case, then you can bring him up to be sworn.
Sure, sure. Inspector, on July 27th, 2023, did you see any cigarettes or any other tobacco products in the public portion of the store, not in the rear, but in the where customers come?
No.
Okay. So you said that you saw some cigarettes in the back room behind that door, the closed door?
Correct.
Okay. But isn't it true that the public is not allowed to go into the back room?
Correct.
I'm going to object. That is, I'm not sure if Mr. Weldon can answer that question, as he doesn't work for the establishment.
Oh, okay. I'll withdraw it, but I'll say, did you would it be possible for just an ordinary member of the public like you, if you could, to access the room without breaking open the door?
I'm going to also object again. Mr. Weldon is not a member of the public. He in no way can actually answer that.
So noted. Mr. Chandler, how about rephrasing in terms of what Mr. Weldon actually observed?
Oh, sure. Okay. So you came into the store, and then how did you see the back door?
Can you ask the question again?
Sure. You came into the establishment, and when did you see the door with the closed door?
Well, when I walked into the establishment.
Okay. And did it look closed at that time?
Yes.
Okay. And how you said that you saw cigarettes by looking underneath the door?
That is correct.
Okay. And what did you do after that?
I asked the clerk, Mr. Ahmed, to open the door.
Okay. And what was the response?
He doesn't have the key. The owner has it.
Okay. And did he say where the owner was?
No.
Okay. Now, did you after that did you look anywhere else in the store or on the premises?
Yes.
And where was that?
What do you mean?
Did you go into the back of the store or anything like that?
Yes.
And what did you do?
I looked around.
And what did you see?
I seen what the facility has in the establishment, the shelves, and everything else that they have in their store.
Okay. Now, you earlier you said that you did not see the store selling, there were no tobacco products in the public portion of the store on that day?
Yes.
Okay. In addition, did you take any photographs of the store while you were there?
Yes.
Okay. And what did the photograph show?
The cease operation stickers.
Oh, but that wasn't okay. That was August 16th, you said, or that was July 27th, right? You posted the cease operations.
I posted the cease of operation July 27th, the day that they were ceased.
Okay. Now, you said on August 16th, the store was open?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see it open on any other day before or since that time?
No.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you. I asked you, Ms. Davis, I do have one follow-up question for Mr. Weldon. Mr. Weldon, are you familiar with what the code requires in terms of cigarette storage that is not being sold to the public? In other words, is a store permitted to have cigarettes at all on its premises if it doesn't have a retail license?
That's correct. They're not to have any tobacco products on the premises without a tobacco retailer permit.
Okay. Do you know if this location has ever had a retail license?
No.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty. Ms. Davis, you have an additional witness.
Can I just want just a brief redirect of Inspector Weldon.
Okay.
Mr. Weldon, Counselor Chandler just asked you with regards to the establishment operating on August 16th. At that time, during the operation of August 16th, had the establishment contacted you for a reinspection of the subject premises?
No.
Had the establishment filled out a compliance plan?
No.
Now, are those things required in order for the establishment to be operating after the cease has been issued?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions for Inspector Weldon.
Oh, and one additional question. How many days is the cease instituted? Is there has it limited or is it continuous? What's that?
It's for me or
Inspector Weldon, you can answer yes.
okay, the cease is 14 days.
14 days? Okay, thank you.
And just to be clear, Inspector Weldon, after that 14 days, what is required for an establishment to be able to begin operating again?
Once they pay the $315 cease operations fee, submit a compliance plan, they must contact the inspector for a reinspection before operating.
And at any point, had you been contacted by the establishment to conduct a reinspection of the premises?
No.
Okay, no further questions for Inspector Weldon.
Okay, thank you. Please call on your other witness, please.
Yes, the city would like to call Ms. Jody Wilkins.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Ms. Wilkins.
Good afternoon.
And you previously stated your positioning and your duties. And today you were here throughout the course of this hearing, correct?
Yes.
So you heard Inspector Weldon's testimony with regards to the prior cease of operations of this establishment?
Yes.
And so are you also familiar with the reasons for the prior cease of this operation, correct?
Correct.
And that would include the tobacco sales and sales to minors, correct?
Correct.
And if I were to show you those ticket sales, would you recognize those tickets today?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, I'm not sharing my screen again. Ms. Wilkins, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, let the record reflect that I'm showing Ms. Wilkins what has been previously marked as City's Exhibit C7. I'm just going to briefly scroll down because there are a few attachments, subparts to this exhibit. Inspector Wilkins, Ms. Wilkins, do you recognize what City's Exhibit C 7 is?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, we have no objection to the admission of these notices because the store did sell the products back in March and April. It's our position that that was the last time they were cited and they were not selling the cigarette products in July.
Okay, but well, I guess the issue is in the city's position, they want to put on the fact, make a record of the violation. So let's proceed to do that. Okay, Ms. Davis?
Yes. And Ms. Wilkins, do you recognize these tickets?
Yes.
And can you just briefly tell the board what these tickets, the month in which these tickets were issued?
They were March and April.
Okay. And there are several tickets here. Just looking at the first ticket here where we see can you state the date in which this ticket was issued?
That was for violation 3/8/23. If you scroll down further at the bottom, it was issued on 3/16. So that was a tobacco sale to someone under 21 through our undercover buyer program.
Okay. And looking at this second document, what do we have here?
That was a no permit ticket that was issued the day that the youth sale ticket was issued, 3/16.
Okay. Scroll now to the third document of C7. What do we have here?
There was an out of package sale at the time that they were doing the inspection on 3/16.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute, before you move, what is out of package sale?
Lucy sale.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Looking at document 4 of Exhibit C7, what do we have here?
That was a no permit ticket on March the 17th, but it was the next day.
Okay. And what do we have here? The fifth document of C7.
This was also a ticket for selling tobacco without checking the ID, which was observed by the inspector on 3/17.
Okay. And again, here, what do we have here in this document, this sixth document of C7?
Yes, that was also a Lucy sale that was observed by the inspector on 3/17.
Okay. And at this time, I'm just going to jump to City's Exhibit C9, just in the essence of time. It probably can help clarify some of this, some of these issues as well. At this time, let the record reflect I'm showing Ms. Wilkins what has been marked as City's Exhibit C9. Ms. Wilkins, do you recognize Exhibit C9?
Yes, I do.
And just for record, can you just inform the board what Exhibit C9 is?
This is the document from the Code Violation Unit Office Administrative Review of the disposition of the tickets that were issued.
Okay, and just for the record, can you inform the board how many open CVNs are how many open CVNs there are with regards to this establishment?
9 so far.
Okay, and have any of these CVNs been appealed?
No.
And how long does an establishment have to appeal a CVN with regards to the tobacco permits?
10 calendar days from the day it was issued.
And what does it mean if a CVN has not been appealed within that time frame?
Then fees will be attached, penalty fees will be attached to the ticket. And then they'll seek to see if they can get payment. And if they're not paid, then they can submit them for municipal court.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Now, Ms. Wilkins, with regards to the presence of tobacco at an establishment, is a permit required to have is a permit required to allow an establishment to have tobacco anywhere on the premises of the establishment?
Yes, a tobacco retailer permit is required for any sales of tobacco and e-cigarette products.
And based upon your review of all of the documentation with regards to this establishment, does this establishment possess a tobacco permit?
No, they do not.
At the time that the tickets were issued in March and April, did they possess a tobacco permit?
No, they did not.
And with regards to a cease of operations, what in totality does the health department take into consideration when issuing a 14-day cease on an establishment with regards to tobacco sales?
The way that we start out is that when they first are known to have tobacco, we would issue them a tobacco retailer permit ticket. And then any follow-up inspections, if they're found with tobacco or e-cigarette products, it will go to an additional ticket and a 48-hour cease. And then anything after that would be at a 14-day cease. So at this point, the business was issued a 14-day cease because they had prior violations.
Okay. And even if tobaccos are held behind a secret door or closet, does an establishment still require, are establishments still required to have a permit for the tobacco?
Yes, they do. No tobacco should be in the premises without a permit.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Wilkins. And just one more question. After a 14-day cease has been issued, what is required of the establishment in order to begin operating again?
The business has to remove all the tobacco and e-cigarettes products from the premises. Then they have to pay the cease fees that are issued. And this business has 2 cease fees that have not been paid. And they have to sign a compliance plan that basically states that they're not going to sell tobacco again. That needs to be signed by the owner and submitted to us. And at present, there has not have been any compliance plan submitted.
Thank you. I have no further questions from Ms. Wilkins.
Okay, Mr. Chandler?
No cross.
No cross? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Ms. Wilkins, Ms. Davis, do you have any further witnesses?
No, I do not have any other witnesses, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chandler,
Yes.
is your opportunity to put your case on?
Okay, I have Mr. Masad here. Can you see him?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Masad, could you state your full name again?
My name, Lua Abdullah Musad.
Okay. And what is your relationship to the business at the premises, the one convenience store?
My son, he's my son, the owner is my son.
Okay. Are you involved with the operation of the store?
Yes, I am.
And how often do you go there?
Couple of times a day. I got orders, I got merchandise. I don't stay there to operate. I just go whenever they need me if I can, and that's it. That's
Okay.
how I operate.
And July 27th of this year, were you at the store when the inspector came?
I was not, but my uncle Ahmed was.
Okay. And at that time, was your store selling tobacco products?
The store was open and not selling tobacco products at all. And even my uncle, he knows that.
Okay. And according to the evidence put on by the city, your store was cited a couple of times for selling products in March and April.
Yes, that is correct. And after the new regulations came out with the city, which is to close 14 days, and after that, they will revoke the license, we kind of gave up on tobacco in any kind. We just gave it up and stopped. And that was about it.
Okay. So you were not selling products on the 27th?
At all, not at all.
Now, when after your store was closed for the 14 days, did we present you with a possible compliance plan that you would have to fill out in order to have your store to reopen?
That's we were surprised by the report with the compliance form, and that's where we stand right now. We declined to sign that consent because we was not guilty of whatsoever. And yeah, that's it.
So you declined to sign the compliance plan because you would have admitted that you were selling?
Doing wrong, and also it puts my business at very risk, which I have one more chance. Again, their regulation, they will revoke my business if ever caught again. And that's the reason why I refuse to sign.
Okay. And on August 16th, when the inspector went back there, what was your store open for business then?
Since he have closed us, we have not been open for business at all. My uncle, since 2 days prior to the 2 days after we was closed, we got burglarized. The back door was broken. Thanks to the inspector, he was outside pointing at the door. in
I'm
front of
going to
everybody.
object.
This that door was kicked off.
Okay, wait a
days
minute, wait a minute, wait a
after.
minute, wait a minute. There's an objection. Ms.
Yes.
Davis, what is the basis of your objection?
The basis of my objection is that this what the appellant is testifying to has no relevance to the matter that's presented before the board.
Okay, sustained. Mr. Chandler, please redirect and ask that your witness respond to specifically your question regarding your operations. The burglary was not part of your question.
Right. On August 16th, the inspector testified that he saw the store was open on that day. Was your store open on that day?
No, at all. Like I said, we have my uncle, since we had a break in, we have my uncle sleeping in there. Either he received an order once, maybe he had open for it, or cleaning up, but for business, not at all. And he's right next to me.
Okay. So you were not selling anything, any type of merchandise at all on that day?
We was not doing business since that day. We was seized the 27th until today.
Okay. And once again, you refused to sign the compliance plan because you would have admitted to something you did not do?
Yes, it listed that we were selling tobacco and that he found tobacco. And yeah, he called me at fault, and that's why we refused to sign it.
The light was on.
I have nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any cross-examination, Ms. Davis?
Yes, a few questions. To be clear, you were not present during the inspection on July 27th, 23, correct?
No, I was not.
You were also not present at the store on August 16th, 2023, correct?
Yes, I was. Since like I said, since the break-in, 2 days
I'm
after
going
it
to
was closed-
object to the response. My question.
Yes, I was.
Okay.
And to be clear, you do understand that you are required to have a permit, a tobacco permit, to have to possess tobacco on your premises, correct?
Yes, I am aware of that after the incident, and I believe it was the last incident we had, April. Yeah, we're aware of that.
Okay, I have no further questions for this witness.
Okay, Mr. Chandler, I'm not sure, but I'll ask you this anyway. The Mr. Mossad, who's currently your witness,
Yes.
do you have anyone else who is legally responsible for the decisions at that location, or is Mr. Chandler the most senior person you have?
Well, Mr. Ahmed is here. He's the uncle. He was present at the time the inspector came in on.
Yeah, but he's not an officer of the LLC, is he?
No,
Is anyone here is an officer of the LLC present?
No, as Mr. Mossad said, his son is the owner, and he's
Okay.
the co-officer.
Well, I'll ask Mr. Mossad. Mr. Mossad, has your store ever had a tobacco retail license?
No.
Okay, and how long have you been operating?
We've been operating around probably February, January, somewhere around there.
February of what year?
This year, 2023.
Is that when you opened?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's when we
Now, did you buy the business from another company, or did you just open from scratch?
We leased it from the landlord. There was a couple of shelves in there. We kind of used it and fixed a couple of stuff.
No. What I'm asking you, did you buy the business, meaning the company, from someone else? You basically started the company yourself, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all I have. Anyone else have any questions? Okay. All righty. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes.
I keep hearing Mr. Mossad saying that he wouldn't sign the compliance plan. I just want to clarify. The compliance plan that was presented, you reviewed it. When you say you wouldn't sign it, you're speaking of yourself. Is that correct? Not your son?
Yes. Speaking as myself, as for the business, yes.
I see, but you're just the general manager. You're not an officer of Best Convenience Store, Best One Convenience Store. You're not an officer. Is that correct?
I mean, I have authority from my son.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
In writing?
Power of attorney. Yes. He was overseas, but now he's back 2 days ago, and he's in.
Well, but you can't have a power of attorney in a business, sir.
Well, Mr. Pincus, Mr. Musad,
Yes.
he had authority from the son, written or oral, and he was, since his son was overseas, Mr. Lula Musad took it upon himself to help operate the business.
Thank you for your answer. That still isn't an appropriate or proper legal answer as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
But
Anything
thank
else?
you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you. Mr. Masad, has your son been informed of these issues, these violations, and your response to them?
He's aware, of course. He's aware of
Okay.
it.
Why isn't he here today?
Like I said, he was in Egypt. He just came back about 2 days ago, and right now he's in Detroit, visiting family, and he should be here soon.
Okay. Does your company, does this company own other businesses in this Philadelphia area?
I'm sorry?
Does your company that owns this convenience store, does it own other businesses
No,
in
it does not.
Philadelphia?
This is the only business we have. Just this.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anything else from anyone?
I just,
Just real quick. You said that the business only been open for less than a year.
I'm sorry, one more time.
When did you open up your business?
I believe he opened since January, February, somewhere around there.
When did you buy the property?
This year.
When did you buy the property?
We did not buy the property. We're not the owners of the property.
So when did you originally lease the property?
When did we take the lease? Around that same time, January, probably early February of 2023.
No more questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Davis?
And if I may, I just want to make the record clear that the appellant, in terms of the board's questions and testifying to the purchase or the transfer of the lease and the deed, that he is not speaking as a member of the actual corporation, that he has no ties to the corporation, and that he is only speaking from whatever his personal knowledge is, as a manager of the store, which goes also to the city's prior objection with regards to standing. With that,
Okay.
we're ready to proceed.
Okay, thank you. If there are no further questions, I'd ask for closing arguments.
Mr. Chairman, we have Mr. Ahmed here. He'd like to testify briefly.
Well,
He
that's
was-
okay. You would want to call Mr. Ahmed as a witness.
Yes, he's right
No.
here.
Okay, let me bring him on and then we'll have to swear him in.
Okay.
Sir, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you. You can place your hand down. Okay, Mr. Chandler?
Mr. Ahmed, could you please state your full name, please?
My name is Ahmed, A-H-M-E-D. A-H-M-E-D.
And are you related to Mr. Lua Musad?
Uncle.
Okay. And you work on July 27th of 2023. Were you working at the store?
Yeah, I was, cleaning up, doing some stuff there.
Okay. And do you recall the Inspector Wilkins, coming in?
Some guy comes
I'm just
up-
going to object just to clarification. It was Inspector Weldon, not Inspector Wilkins.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Inspector Weldon. I apologize.
That's the first time, I've been in Philly. He just say, I'm inspector, I'm from the health department, open the door. I say, okay. And I opened.
And what happened at
Well-
that time?
Well, when he come, he had some kind of plastic thing he put in the refrigerator and he's good. And he was looking in the cash and behind and in the front. And then he told me, what's your name? I told him, Ahmed Ahmed. He said, Ahmed Ahmed. Huh? It's another guy. I didn't say none. I didn't pay him no mind. Then he started taking pictures, going back and forth, and he keeps saying, something here. What is it about? I say, I don't know nothing. Then he walk and he say, is it tobacco in here? Show me. I thought, I don't know what you're talking about. Then he's go back and he saw the door and he say, is something in there? I say, I don't know, sir. I don't know. Then he say, no, it's something in there. Then I start, taking my phone and I take picture for him what he was saying and everything. He say, I'm going to close you. I say, what for? He say, I just feel like it. I say, okay. Then he go outside and he told me, what's that door? I say, what's door? He said that door going up. I said, that's not mine. You got to call to the landlord. I don't know nothing about that. No, he said, no, I'm just going to close you close that door. That's it.
I have nothing further, Mr.
Any
Chairman.
cross, Ms. Davis?
Yes, Mr. Ahmed, you stated you were present during the inspection on July 27th, correct?
Yes.
And the inspector Weldon told you that he saw tobacco behind the plywood door, correct?
I didn't see none. I just go by what he say. I don't know. I can't even see.
Okay, so my question was that the inspector told you that he saw tobacco behind the plywood, correct?
He say no. He say some paper.
Oh,
I saw paper. That's exactly what he said.
Okay, one thing, Ms. Davis, just for a moment. I'm not sure, Mr. Chandler, who else is in the room with you. But please, we're hearing voices, and as you know, we can't have coaching.
Yeah,
It has to be Mr. Chandler.
That's co-counsel, Ms. Beck. She is.
No, she can't be doing that. She
Right.
cannot be doing that. Her voice is being picked up, and you are the person presenting the case. She can't coach you either. So she should, if she can't not comply, she'll need to leave the room. Understood?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed, Ms. Davis, in your cross.
Yes, so back to my question. During the inspection, Inspector Weldon told you that he saw tobacco behind the plywood, correct?
That's what he say. He say he not tobacco. He say I saw a paper. I saw a paper.
And then Mr. Inspector Weldon asked that the door or the plywood be removed, correct?
Yes, I told him I cannot because I don't have no access. The landlord, he had access. I don't have no access. It's no keys, no nothing to go in that wall.
And at any point, did you try to contact the business owner to gain access to that area?
I trying to even see who's the landlord because there's nobody have access, only the landlord from outside. Ain't nobody have no access from inside, nobody.
So is that a no? You did not try to contact the owner of the business to gain access to that area?
I did call him, but he said, what area? How we go, I don't know. You don't have the key. Nobody have no key. No key from inside or no key from outside. It's just like a wall.
So just to clarify, you said that you did call.
Call who?
You just said that you did call the owner of the establishment.
I called him, I told him this inspector is there, but he was not around.
And what's the name of the person you called?
I called Lua, my nephew. Who else am I gonna call?
And after you informed him of the need of getting access to this area, what did the owner tell you?
He say we don't have no access. He don't even have no access. Everything is from outside. We just have that part of the store, but the building is different door, different sides.
I have no further questions for this witness. Thank you.
I have nothing further.
Any further?
No, nothing.
I would like to ask Mr. Mossad a question.
Oh, sure.
If you could. Mr. Mossad,
Yes.
and after you got those tickets for selling tobacco, what happened to the tobacco inventory?
I'm sorry. You talking about the March or the April violations?
Yeah, the sales that you were making in March and April. When you got those tickets, what did you do? Sir, you have to wait until I get my say.
Yes, sir.
We're being recorded, and you can only record one voice at a time. So after you got those tickets in March and April, what did you do with your inventory of cigarettes?
Throw them all out.
Is it your testimony that you destroyed the inventory?
Everything was thrown out in the garbage.
In the dumpster.
Inspector explained to me in details, like they say, there cannot be any tobacco in the building whatsoever. We had no choice, but we threw them.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty. I believe we heard all the witnesses. I think we're at the point now having hearing final argument. Mr. Chandler, then Ms. Davis.
Okay. Well, Mr. Chairman, you heard Mr. Mossad testify. They They were not selling cigarettes to the public on July 27th. So the inspection report was an error in that point. They had sold cigarettes in March and April, but since then, July 27th, there were no public sales of cigarettes. In addition, as Mr. Masad said, he did not want to sign the compliance plan because that would have forced him to admit that that the store was selling cigarettes on July 27th. And he said that's not true, that they were not selling it. So that is why he refused to sign the compliance plan. And further, as he also testified about the August 16th incident, he said that they were not open. And all in all, I think I would request that the board grant the appeal.
Ms. Davis?
Yes, if I may, Chairman, we are here due to a cease of operations against an establishment who has demonstrated repeated violations of the law with regards to the presence of tobacco in addition to the sales of tobacco. Here, and if I may, I'm just going to just share my screen briefly. While opposing counsel hinders on the specific language of the selling of tobacco, as you heard today from both Inspector Weldon and Ms. Wilkins, it is not just the selling of tobacco that is prohibited without a tobacco permit. It is the mere presence of tobacco on the subject premises without a permit. Here you can see that the violations were issued due to the presence of tobacco that Inspector Weldon testified to seeing during his inspection. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen briefly, and those exhibits were also provided to the board and appellant for the board's convenience and review. Nonetheless, opposing counsel also states that his client didn't want to sign to admit to anything, but given the testimony today, his client cannot sign because his client does not have any legal authority over this business, which was presented as an issue to the board when these proceedings first began. It is their appeal to refute the violations that were demonstrated here before the board. They have not called Inspector Weldon to have him come out and reinspect the subject premises to ensure from their position that there was no tobacco on the subject premises. They have failed to pay the required fines and fees. Again, this cease has occurred due to the repeated actions of the appellant. The witnesses today, in conjunction with the evidence presented to you today, basically states and demonstrates the city's position as to why this cease was valid and appropriate. The opposing counsel's witness wasn't even there during the inspection, couldn't really testify to what actually occurred. You also heard from the appellant's second witness, who told you that Inspector Weldon stated that he saw tobacco on the premises and demanded that the door be open to allow further access, which he was denied. Given the testimony and the evidence presented to you today by the city and the testimony from Ms. Wilkins as well as Inspector Weldon, the city has justified the reason why this cease was implemented and why it occurred. You saw the evidence of them operating in violation of the cease of operations. And at that time, on August 16th, 2023, they had not done anything that was required to allow them to be operating again. Here, they're attempting to just demonstrate and show that because the inspector could not get behind that door, which they refused to allow him access, that there was no reasons for this cease. And they have not presented any evidence to the contrary of what was presented before the board as to why this cease is valid and why it was accurately implemented. And for these reasons, the city will be asking that you vote city affirm with regards to this appeal.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there if there are no further questions, the evidence that has been presented, we will call the vote. Excuse me.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Can I request an executive session?
Sure. Okay, let's do that. It is now 4:08. We will go off the record and return at no later than 4:15. Okay, Mr. Kelly, we're back on the record regarding Number 40, HA-2023-003300, the 3076 Kensington Avenue, Liwa Abdullah Masad. We will now poll the board. City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
Affirmed.
City affirmed. City affirmed.
Thank you. The majority vote is city affirmed. Mr. Chandler, you've lost your appeal. You may, however, as you know, appeal the decision of the board to the Court of Common Pleas. Thank you so much for your participation and your cooperation. You're
Thank
now
you, Mr.
excused.
Chairman. Thank
Okay,
you.
have a good afternoon.
Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you,
Davis.
board. And that concludes my business for today. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. And the
And
inspector? Yeah,
And
Ms.
Ms.
Wilkins?
Wilkins, yes, Ms. Wilkins is, if she doesn't have any other matters, may she be excused as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Thank you,
Good
Mr.
evening.
Chairman.
Good evening.
Bye.
Let's move to 41.
Okay, Mr. Chair, real quick before we move to 41, I
Yes.
believe there's a couple continuances to be read, and we also still have the Spanish interpreter, and I don't believe that appellant's here for case number.
Okay, well, let's do this. In order to get that out of the way, let's go through those quickly and then get to 41 because I know we have an issue with a witness
Okay,
that we may lose.
so this is case number 23. If the interpreter wants to repeat after me. Case number 23, hearing appeal HA 2022-004356, 6401 Frankfurt Avenue, Baditza Cadilla, Melissa Camacho. Service was made.
And this is the interpreter speaking. I'm sorry, can you repeat again?
Case
Yes.
23, hearing appeal ending 004356, 6041 Frankfurt Ave, Baditza Cadillo, and Melissa Camacho.
And the name before Melissa Camacho again?
Baditza Cadillo.
Thank you very much. Así que esta es para la calle 5401 de la Frankfurt Avenida y el caso termina en 004356 y este es para el caso para Melissa Camacho y Editza Cadillo.
Yeah. Any response from anyone? If not, Mr. Interpreter, would you mind, Bain, would you mind repeating that name again, those two names again?
Yes, y Melissa Camacho o Editza Cadillo, si pueden entrar en la línea y prender su micrófono.
Okay, no response. What is the city's preference?
Hi, board. Yes, seeing that the appellant, for the record, the appellant, while there are two names, the only property owner listed in the deed and other records is Melissa Camacho. Baditza Cadillo is not a property owner. However, given that Ms. Camacho has not appeared, the city would like to have the appeal dismissed for non-appearance.
Okay, Mr. Pincus, what time do we have?
4:23 p.m.
4:23 p.m. Okay, we will poll the board regarding HA-2022-004356, 6041 Frankfurt Avenue, Baditza Cadillo, and Melissa Camacho. City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
Affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance. City affirmed non-appearance.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Wade, what would be our next matter? That matter is now disposed of.
Yes, Mr. Begelman, I believe, has two continuances to put on the record so that the
Okay.
appellants can move.
Sure.
And
Which
this
one?
is the interpreter speaking. May I be excused?
Yes, sir. I believe that's all we need for you today. Have a good afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Mr. Begelman?
Yes, hi. There's two appeals that are request continuances on. The first, the number 27, HA 2022-004385 concerning 38 South Cecil Street. I spoke to the appellant and she consents to the continuance due to lack of witness availability this afternoon.
Okay.
I told her she could leave, so I don't think she's here anymore, but she
Okay.
consents to the continuance.
Would note that as continued.
And number 3, I'd also like to request a continuance due to witness unavailability. That's HA-2022-001493 concerning 2115 Seabird Street.
Okay, we note that as continued.
Good
Great.
morning. Hold on.
Mr.
Hold
Denenberg,
on.
there's Mr. Denenberg, sir.
Oh,
I've been waiting almost 3 hours. This is
Okay.
the third continuance the city has requested. And I'm going to ask that this case be dismissed as the city's not ready. I've been
Okay.
here all 3 times, waiting patiently, and I'm ready to go today.
okay, let's see. Mr. Begelman, let's strike the continuance. What I'd like for the two of you to do is have a quick conversation and come back, if you would. And go in the breakout room and have a conversation, because I didn't realize Mr. Denenberg was here.
Oh, I apologize. That's why I went with the first one, because I knew that was uncontested. I apologize for that. Me and Mr. Denenberg did speak, I don't know, 30 minutes ago or so, 45 minutes ago. But I'm more than happy to speak to him again and try to
Okay,
assuage his
are
concern.
you prepared at all to move forward, or are you saying you can't move forward?
The inspector who issued the violation notices had to leave at 4 o'clock.
Okay,
So
if the two of you can have a quick conversation, what I'd like to do is get some of these other things taken care of and come back to you.
fine. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
That breakout room's still available to both of you.
Okay.
Well, okay, what do we have next, Mr. Wade?
Now we can go back to 41.
41. Okay, but before, do we have any preliminary matters that we can dismiss? Because I don't want.
They were
Miss-
they were the only 2 that had any relevance to getting people out of, appellants.
Wasn't there a request on no, oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought there was a request for 38, but that's already been cleared of the record. Okay, thank you.
What about 13? Tyrone Mason.
That's a continuance, is it not? Number 13? Oh,
I don't
I'm
have
sorry.
I don't have anything on that.
Do you have anyone in the
Hi,
waiting
board.
room with that name?
Who's here?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay. What about number 20, Michael Tracy?
Michael Tracy is not in the waiting room. I did check service and it doesn't, I'm uncomfortable with where the notice was sent. It appears to be one of his older addresses.
Okay, is he
I did
represented
reach
by
out to-
counsel today?
He's not represented by counsel, and I did reach out to the city's attorney handling that matter to see if he had any contact with him.
Okay, let's read it into the record and we'll need to continue it.
Case number 20, hearing appeal HA 2022-004225, 415 South 17th Street, Michael Tracy.
Okay, we'll note that as continued. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, what did we wind up doing on number 28, City Star Pizza?
We didn't make any, I don't see anyone here under that name and when we
Okay,
called it, no one
read that
responded.
into the record then, please.
Case number 28, hearing appeal HA 2022-004426, 5942 McCallum Street, City Star Pizza. Service was made.
Thank you. Who's representing the city in this matter?
Caitlin Carmody for the city.
Okay, there's been no response. Ms. Comley, what is your preference here?
Seeing that nobody representing the appellant has appeared, the city would like to have the appeal dismissed for failure to appear.
Okay, already, we'll poll the board regarding the HA-2022-004426, 5942 McCallum Street, City Star Pizza, city affirmed non-appearance.
Mr. Chairman, I will affirm the city for non-appearance. It's 4:29 PM.
My apologies, I forgot to ask you that. 4:29 PM. Thank you.
City affirm not appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
Firm for non-appearance.
City affirm non-appearance. City affirm non-appearance.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. All righty. Let's go back. I think I see Mr. Denenberg and Mr. Begelman. Mr. Begelman, Mr. Denenberg, any resolution at all?
Mr. Begelman's still in the breakout room. I'll bring him back.
Oh, yes, Mr. Denenberg's back. Okay.
I didn't receive a link to go to a breakout room.
Oh, well, my apologies, sir.
That's okay. I just want to get my.
I just
take-
don't want the discussion on the record. So I was hoping that
I-
the two of you could have a conversation and then we'll decide. So if you could give Mr. Denenberg a quick opportunity, my apologies.
I'm going to go join the breakout room.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other preliminary matters we can dispose of?
No.
And I guess, how many matters do we have remaining on your list, Mr. Wade?
Seven.
Yes, 7 open items? Okay. All right. Okay,
Case 41.
yes,
Okay. Case 41, hearing appeal HA 2023 003809 100 South 60th Street, Kim's Pancake, Sue Jin Kim.
okay. Just, who's representing the city?
Good afternoon, board. This is Caroline Curley on behalf of the city.
Okay, Ms. Gray, who's representing the appellant?
Bob Coco.
Mr. Coco, good afternoon. Just to notice to the two of you, out of deference for trying to resolve a matter, I will start this, but when the two, Mr. Denenberg returns, I'm going to stop our hearing and we have to make a ruling on that matter. There's no need to have him sit here for another 15, 20 minutes, given the circumstances. So I'll apologize to you now.
I'm sure
Okay.
Mr. Denenberg will interrupt me. I'm confident of that. So,
Okay, so why don't, Ms. Curley, do you have a witness for today?
yes, board. I do have one witness, Inspector Conway.
Okay, Inspector Conway, if you raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Coco, do you have any witnesses?
I have Ms. Kim available should I need her. I don't know that I'm going to call her, depending on what the.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Okay, Ms. Curley, please proceed.
So, board, this is a notice of an appeal of a notice of intent to cease that was issued by the department for a restaurant operating at, I believe the property, is 100 South 60th Street in Philadelphia, operated by Kim's Pancake. The sole reason for the cease was because the business does not possess a food prep license as required by city code. There's no, I'll make the same arguments that I made before. Essentially, there's no argument that the food prep license has been obtained. There's no argument that it's not needed. Simply, they're asking for more time to get the license before the cease goes into effect, which is something which is a remedy the board simply cannot provide. They do not have a food prep license today. And for that reason, the city will ask to dismiss the appeal and affirm the intent to cease. I'm happy to call the witness if the board wishes that to be done.
Okay, just put on, well, I see Mr. Denenberg. Just one moment before we call the witness. Perfect timing. Mr. Denenberg and Mr. Begelman. Just for the record, we're going to continue this matter for a few moments, and we're going to recall HA 2022-00149 2115 Seabrook Street. Mr. Begelman, Mr. Denenberg, any?
Mr. Chairman, before
yes.
you proceed, I just want to put on the record that I'm, if there's any participation required by the board, I'm recusing myself because of my relationship as a fellow attorney with Mr. Denenberg and having had matters referred to him and from him in recent years and recent months.
Okay, thank you very much. We will decide fairly quickly whether we'll need to have you do that. Mr. Begelman present?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Begelman, Mr. Denenberg, any resolution? Does the board need to make a decision in this?
There was not any resolution. I tried to talk about a potential continuance. I think Mr. Denenberg opposes that continuance. There there is a very much at its core, there are some legal arguments, but without the inspector here, we're not prepared to go to that stage after the legal arguments in terms of the substance of the violation. So the city, again, requests the continuance of this matter, but I know Mr. Denenberg would like to speak to the board and present his position, but the city's position is that we'd like to continue it and request that maybe get listed first or as early as possible the next time we're able to slot this in.
Okay, Mr. Begelman, how many times has this been continued?
I apologize. I do not know the answer to that question. But
okay,
I'm not privy to that. It's that.
And this is a property maintenance matter, correct?
It's a property maintenance, and there's a couple fire code violations as well.
Okay, Mr. Denenberg, Mr. Denenberg, your turn.
30-second opportunity here. This is a very, very unusual case. Don't know if a case like this has ever come in front of the board, but let me lay it out. This property was bought at a tax sale in November of 16. The prior owner was Hattie Hayes and Claudine Walker. They filed, Miss Walker and Miss Hayes filed a petition to redeem, and they have been under a redemption order from the Common Pleas Court for the past 7 years. They have been in and out of bankruptcy 3 different times. It was the Miss Hayes and Miss Walker who contacted L&I. They're the equitable owners.
I hate to interrupt this, but we're wading into the merits of the legal issue, and I believe the question here is just whether we can reach a resolution about the continuance of this. If we're not, I can dive into the legal issue as well, but I don't think we're meant to wade into this right now.
Mr. Denenberg, Mr. Denenberg, let me do this. One, I will apologize for you having to wait, but that's the nature of what we do here. It takes a long. Sir, please don't cut me off. Please, Mr. Denenberg, please don't cut me off. I'm out of deference for your time as well as Mr. Begelman. We want to try to resolve this. If we can't, let's quickly come to that conclusion. But please, I've asked him not to go into the facts of the case. I ask you not to do the likewise. It's only a matter of whether or not we should honor the request to continue. And you've argued because your time has been here all day, we shouldn't do that. And I want to hear the essence of that continuous argument.
This is the 3rd time that the city's asked for continuance. February, June, and now September. I've sat on this case over 6.5 hours on a case that my client should never be cited because it was the redemption occupants calling L&I.
Who's the owner of record, Mr. Denenberg?
My client got a deed, and then the redemption was filed timely within the 1 year.
Oh, so he's no longer the owner of record.
He remains the owner.
Mr. Chairman.
Wait. I understand this a little bit, okay? So just wait a minute. Mr. Denenberg, he's no longer the owner of record. Then should the violation have been sent to him anyway at all?
Yes.
It should have been. Okay. All right.
He was on the deed.
Okay. All right. Got it.
But the property was
he's presenting things that aren't fully true and aren't. I don't think we're wading into the legal merits of this issue here, but it's not quite as he's presented it.
Okay. Now,
to be clear,
Mr. Begelman, what happened to your witness?
My witness was had an obligation and couldn't stay past. I think they were on until about 4:10 or so. I emailed Mr. Wade a few hours ago, and I wasn't aware of the emergencies that kind of took precedent. So I thought we'd get in beforehand, but.
Okay. Now, were you the illegal? Were you handling this matter in the previous 2 times?
I was not. I was not with the city when those occurred.
Okay. I've heard all of what I need to hear for the moment. We're going to do this. We're going to continue this with a must be heard and will be listed first at our next hearing. Okay. Appreciate you, Mr. Denenberg, but this is what we're going to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everyone, have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Chairman.
Let's go recall the previous case. Thank you.
Case number 41, hearing appeal HA 2023-003-809, 100 South 60th Street, Kim's Pancake.
Okay. Ms. Curley, you were prepared to put on a witness.
Yes, sure. Inspector Conway, I think you were sworn.
Yes.
Okay. Inspector Conway, can you identify your employer, please?
I work for the City of Philadelphia Department of License and Inspections.
And what's your
Excuse me, I'm sorry, this is the court reporter. Could I have the inspector's first name, please?
Okay.
Brian, Bryan.
Oh, and I'm sorry, before we proceed, Mr. Wade, would you notify Mr. Pincus that he should come back in the room?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. All right.
And Inspector
My
Conway,
apologies for
what
the
do you do for the
interruptions. Please
department?
proceed.
I'm a code enforcement inspector, handling all existing buildings, fire and property maintenance violations, zoning licenses.
Okay. How long approximately have you worked for the department?
About 7.5 years.
Are you familiar with the property at 100 South 60th Street?
I am, yes.
How are you familiar with it?
I inherited this case file from Inspector Martin Rodenbush.
Okay.
And in doing a re-inspection on the property, that's how I became familiar with it.
Okay. And are you the issuing inspector for the intent to cease?
I am.
Okay. Were you also able to review department records of this property?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Board, at this time, I'm going to share my screen. Inspector Conway, can you see my screen?
I can, yes.
Okay, I'm going to scroll in a little bit. Board, just for the admission for City Exhibit 1, this is a copy of the appellant's appeal. We just asked that be incorporated into the record, just indicating again that they do not have a food prep license and they are essentially asking for more time to comply that. So
noted.
Thank you. Inspector Conway, do you see City Exhibit 2A?
I do.
What is this document?
This is the notice of intent to cease operations in order.
Okay, and the date of this document? I can scroll in, sorry.
Yeah. September 5th, 2023.
Okay. And this was issued against the property we're talking about today, 100 South 60th Street, correct?
That's correct.
And this notice was sent to the identified owner, Han Che, at the address listed below.
That's correct.
Okay. And what was the basis for the cease?
For not obtaining a food preparation license.
Okay, is that what's stated in the center of the notice of intent to cease?
It is.
Okay. Were you able to review department records for this property?
I have, yes.
As of today, do they have a food prep license?
They do not.
Okay. Second page of this notice of intent to cease was issued to the actual property itself. That's indicated in the top left corner.
That's correct.
Same date, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Same thing. Okay. And 2B, that was also issued to the occupant at the property.
That's correct.
Okay. Same violations. Now I'm going to show you City Exhibit 3. Do you recognize this?
I do.
Okay. Is this the last food preparation license associated with this property?
It is.
Okay. And this was actually issued to the former business or the business identified as M&S Breakfast LLC. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And the expiration date on this license, what is that?
Can you scroll up a little bit? I can really see that.
Sorry.
Expiration date of 5/9/23.
Okay. Since May 9th, 2023, has there been any new food preparation license?
There has not.
Okay. And just so we know what property we're talking about, do you recognize this photograph?
I do.
Is this the property, Kim's Pancake? There's a sign on the left-hand side, middle.
It is.
Okay. And they advertise breakfast and lunch as indicated in the center signage.
That's correct.
Okay. Now additional violations were written on this property, correct?
Yes.
Do those violations, well, let me strike that. In order to operate, why does this business need a food preparation license?
You need a license to prepare food in the city of Philadelphia.
What are the safety concerns? Why does the city require that?
The health department is also involved in issuing that particular license to make sure is of sanitary conditions and that, all efforts are being met
Okay.
to protect the public.
Okay. And in the city's records, there were other violations that were issued against the property, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm going to scroll down. Sorry, to City Exhibit 7. In your review, they had additional violations. Is this what we're looking at in the violation notice?
It is.
Okay. This is August 1st, 2023. Sorry.
It is.
Yep. And to summarize the violations, was three fire code violations, essentially for the kitchen hood, the hood suppression system, and a kitchen fire extinguisher. Does that sound correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And at the very bottom of this notice of violation, were they also ordered to obtain a food prep license?
They were.
Okay. And these photographs, these are contained in the department's records in showing the hood suppression system.
That's correct.
Okay. And whether these violations, the fire code violations, are complied or not, they still need the food prep license, right?
That's correct.
Okay. I would just ask for the admission of city exhibits 1 through 7 and all its subparts.
So move.
Screen. Okay.
Okay. Mr. Coco, any cross-examination?
Mr. Conaway, so the food prep license and the other license violations were determined upon a August 1, 2023 inspection?
Looks like these violations were written July 26, 2023.
July 26th, okay. And the intent to cease and desist not being issued until September 5th, doesn't that indicate that there's leeway for the city to allow the issues to be cured in order for that license to be obtained?
No, that just simply means that there was a transfer in inspectors between dates, and when I inherited this particular case file is when I went out to do a reinspection on the property and observed that there wasn't a food prep license issued and granted them 10 days to get that license before the actual cease operations.
Are you aware of any outstanding violations that would prevent the license from being issued?
No, I'm not.
I don't have any further questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Curley, any additional witnesses?
No, just very brief redirect for the inspector.
Okay, please.
Just going to share my screen, Inspector Conway. Can you see what's marked as City Exhibit 7?
I can't need to
Enlarge it.
enlarge it. Yes, thank you.
Looking at the center, below where it says in violation, all in bold, the date the individual was required to make the repairs under the notice of violation, what date was that? I have it highlighted now.
September 4th, 2023.
That's the correct by date, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And scrolling up, as of September 4th, 2023, had the owner obtained the food prep license?
They had not.
Okay. And the date of the cease is, just to remind everyone, what date is that?
September 10th, 2023.
Sorry, looking at the notice of intent, what date did you send it?
On September 5th, 2023.
Got it. Okay. Nothing further for this witness.
Okay, thank you. Any additional witnesses, Ms. Curley?
No, thank you, board.
Okay, Mr. Coco, your opportunity.
Just briefly redirect with Mr. Mr. Conaway, do you have any way of confirming when the intent to cease and desist was actually received by Kim's Pancake?
Well, not via U.S. mail, but I personally hand delivered a copy of the intent to the address at 100 South 60th Street.
And do you have any proof of when you did that?
The date that it was written, yes.
Just your testimony that you delivered it on that date?
That's correct.
Okay. Nothing further.
Okay, Mr. Coco, do you want to present your case, please?
Well, I don't really have any evidence to submit other than to submit the exhibits that I'm sorry, I have no testimony to submit. I would like to submit the exhibits in support of the board making an equitable determination, which could be eventually made by the Common Pleas Court, that being that there's no real outstanding violations, that they could apply for the food prep license post haste and do so because there's testimony that there's no outstanding violations to prevent it, that the board allow, however, a brief amount of time for it to be secured so that the business doesn't endure the stigma of a cease and desist. They employ people in the neighborhood of this business in West Philadelphia.
Mr. Coco, it sounds to me you're making an argument.
Yeah.
And so before we get to that point,
Okay.
if you don't have any witnesses, we will discuss one of the clear things is there's no argument as to whether or not there was a valid license in place at the time of inspection, correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, let's do this then. If there are no additional questions, why don't we then call for final argument, Mr. Coco and then Ms. Curley.
Yeah, I do just want to make sure my objection is on the record for the
Sure.
addition of those documents without any, introductory purpose or opportunity to cross-examine anyone about.
Well, those documents have not been admitted.
Okay,
at the
I
time.
just wanted to make sure that was.
Yeah, they haven't been admitted. Mr. Coco, you want to present them as part of someone's testimony, you can. So, but they have already submitted their appeal form. If that's attached to the appeal form, that's fine. But they got to be questioned. We have to have access to them and be able to impeach somebody.
Well, okay, I could have Ms. Kim testify to the contents of the exhibits.
So you want to do that?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I can do so briefly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's bring her on and have her sworn in.
Okay. Ms. Kim, are you there?
I believe
saw
that's
earlier.
yes,
Oh, yeah, she's there. Okay.
Ms. Kim, raise your right hand so you may be sworn.
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes.
Pardon me, didn't hear you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Just speak up so we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
Let
Mr.
me
Coco?
Yeah. I'm sorry, wait. Yeah, okay, sure. Okay, Ms. Kim, can you see the document on the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Coco, before you ask her any about the facts, who is she and what is her relationship to this business?
Oh, I'm sorry. She is a principal of the LLC that operates this business. Is not the owner of the property, but is a principal of the company that owns and runs the property.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, this is just really hard to see because it's a little too close.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll make it smaller. I'm sorry.
I don't know if that's just me.
If I may, Mr. Coco, did you submit this exhibit package beforehand? I believe you may have. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, I submitted it via email to Ms. Curley and all the parties CC'd, which I believe included the board.
The city did receive this packet.
Okay, please proceed, Mr. Coco.
Ms. Kim, looking at the document on the screen that's Appellant Exhibit 1, do you recognize this?
Yes.
Okay, can you describe for the board what's portrayed there?
Which one? This hood?
Appellant Exhibit 1, the one that I'm circling with my cursor right now.
Huh.
Can you describe that?
The box?
Yeah, the items pictured in the photographs.
Oh, the box, they have the water, so when the fire, the water come out the sprinkler.
Did you did you engage in any corrective actions?
Yes.
In response to the
Everything,
city?
yes.
Well, hold on.
Everything
In response to the city's issuance of a violation?
So I'm just gonna object based on relevance for this issue, as the sole
Well-
issues before it was about the cease for the food prep license and not the additional violations. So I don't know what relevance any of the additional violations.
Well, except that additional violations were noted in the official notice of cease operations, weren't they?
No, it was only noticed in the notice of violation, not the cease violation. And so the cease is singularly.
Okay, well,
Okay.
can it be stipulated that in fact, the appellant has complied with all the other violations?
I don't have information to verify that those are complied, but I can verify that they are not the basis of the cease.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Coco, what I'd ask you to do then is to, given that this emergency hearing is, I believe this is an
Yeah.
emergency hearing.
I'll
is
withdraw
principal-
that question.
Yeah. So let's move on from that if she's worked to comply.
Okay. So Ms. Kim, let me just ask you generally, what did you understand to be the critical violations that you were to correct in order to obtain the food prep license to avoid the cease and desist?
She came out yesterday, the inspector, and she said like 2 flies. And she said we're not supposed to have no flies in the restaurant. And
Okay, so that's one, no flies in the restaurant. What are,
the second was I didn't have a paper towel in the bathroom. And she put another one in the, I have like next to the toilet, I have a little hole in the wall. She said I need to fix that one too.
okay, well, I'm not talking about, let me stop you for a second, because I'm not talking about what she observed yesterday. Before the cease and desist was issued, she visited your premises, correct? Ms. Robinson, the inspector?
Yes.
Okay,
I need to make a sink under the sink. I had to like half-inch gap under the sink.
okay, the food prep sink?
Yes.
Did you
And I
do that?
Yeah, I fixed everything.
Okay, and if we look at appellant exhibit 5, is that the sink you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So in addition to removing flies, installing the prep sink, was there anything else?
And the other they put me on the food.
Okay, so if we look at appellant exhibit 6, does this, these are covered dated items, would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
And I made a mop sink in the bathroom too.
Okay, but I don't think that was one of the critical violations, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's all I have for Ms. Kim for those items.
Okay. Ms. Curley, you have any cross-examination?
Miss Kim, the inspector you're talking about who came yesterday,
Yes.
was that inspector from the health department or from the Department of License and Inspections?
Health inspection.
Okay, and she needs to come back again, correct? Okay, all right, I don't have anything else.
I have one question for Ms. Kim. Ms. Kim, when you opened your store, why didn't you have a food prep license before you opened?
The thing was when my CPA and applied for a health inspection like end of February, but she came out on like July,
When did you open your restaurant?
like March.
Okay. And the previous food prep license expired when?
Previous May 3rd, I guess.
Okay. And you didn't reapply for a new one?
Oh, because that's not my business. There was the old owner.
Okay. For your business, why didn't you apply for the food prep license before you opened?
No, I asked my CPA, I need to pass the inspection, then I get the like food prep license.
But you still didn't answer my questions. Why did you not acquire the license before you opened?
I did.
I don't think so.
No, because in order to get my food license, they said I need to pass the inspection first to get my prep license.
Okay, but you opened and started selling food even before you did that. Okay.
But the inspection didn't come out.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Coco?
No, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I guess I'm not sure I heard clearly the answers to your, I think it was a very critical question. Miss Kim, did you apply or when did you apply for a food preparation license with respect to your business, Kim's Pancakes? When did you apply for that food preparation, or have you yet applied?
So I asked my CPA if order to get my food prep license, I need to pass the inspection.
No, no, Ms. Kim, to aid the board member, he's asking you, do you have any proof of when you applied for either through your CPA or, or yourself? Do you have proof of an application being made?
No, I don't have opportunity. My CPA has it.
And Ms. Kim, can I ask you, do you know the difference between a food establishment personnel food safety certificate?
Yeah, I have that one.
You have that. Are you confusing that with the food prep license?
No, it's this is different.
Okay, you understand it is different.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Ms. Kim, have you seen what the CPA submitted for your application? Have you seen the document if you don't have it with you right now?
No, I don't.
You've never seen it?
No.
It's just on her say-so that you relied? Oh, okay.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Ms. Kim,
Yes.
you're familiar with the license and inspection inspector who came out there, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have an inspection by a health department sanitarian?
Yesterday, Ms. Kim, did a health inspector come out?
Yes, yesterday. She came at 3 times.
Okay. And she wrote violations?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We'll go to closing argument. Mr. Coco and then Ms. Curley.
Well, thank you, but yeah, I'll repeat myself. I'm afraid that I think that in any legal determination involves considerations of equity, and I think that here she has done everything needed. Arguably, the only thing that she needs to do is install a screen in the front door to prevent flies from coming in. But quite frankly, this is an eating establishment without any seating. People are coming in and out. Drivers are coming in and out, picking up food. It's the summertime. And that's, of course, L&I can't control that. They have to come inspect when they can come and inspect. But all the substantive matters have been addressed. And if she can just have, even if it's just a matter of days on an equitable basis, to just install a screen door to keep out the flies otherwise, so that she can keep the door open and relieve the heat in the small establishment, I think that would be a fair result for her. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Curley?
So I just want to make clear, Mr. Coco has used the word equity, I think at least, a couple times. The board is beholden to the code, right? The board does not have equitable powers to subvert exactly what the code says. And the code says in 6301 that every food establishment must have a food preparation license in order to operate. The testimony was uncontested here today that the owner does not have a food prep license, and that has not been obtained. So that needs to happen before this business can operate, and there can be no extension of that period of time under the Philadelphia Code. Once she has that, the cease can be lifted, assuming there are no other issues that are identified during the health department's inspection. And just I would, make clear to Mr. Coco as well as the appellant that L&I's violations are separate from the health department's violations, and that if in the event L&I's violations are complied, the owner should call for a reinspection to make sure that those violations are removed. But for the board's purposes, I think there needs to be a city affirm here to ensure that the appellant obtains the food prep license and serves food to the city of Philadelphia for those public safety reasons. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll poll the board on HA-2023-003809, 100 South 60th Street, Kim's Pancake, city affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
Affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
Thank you very much. Majority, or in actually the unanimous vote of city affirmed. Mr. Coco, of course, you have the right to appeal our decisions to the Court of Common Pleas. Thank you for your participation. And Ms. Kim, you're now excused.
Thank you.
And your witness, Ms. Curley, is excused also, unless you need him for something else.
If he has no further cases, he is free.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right,
Goodbye.
Mr. Wade, what do we have next?
Yeah, I miscalculated earlier. I think there's only 3 cases left. I just want to confirm that cases 33 and 36 were both continued. I didn't have that marked in early.
Okay, 33 and 36. Yes, 33 was continued, and
Okay.
36 was not continued. So we do need to call that one, I believe, unless someone has a different record.
I have number 36 being continued.
You do?
I
Okay.
also.
Okay. Please note it as continued.
Okay, so
Okay.
again, I miscalculated. Apologies. We have 3 cases left. We'll just start at the top of the list.
Okay.
Case number 10, hearing appeal HA 2022-004335, 7200 North 21st Street, concerned Black men.
Wait a minute, that's number
10.
what? Number 10. My apologies. Okay, number 10. Okay. Who's representing the city in this matter?
Good afternoon, board members. Jim Keller on behalf of the city.
Mr.
Mr.
Kelly?
Chairman, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, I'm going to leave. I have to leave at this time.
You excuse. Have a good afternoon, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any response from concerned Black men?
Yes, Concerned Black Men is on the call.
Okay. Your name, sir?
Todd Harrison, I'm the president of Concerned Black Men.
Okay. Who is your attorney, Mr. Harrison?
We don't have an attorney.
Okay. To present an appeal before this board, you need to be represented if you're a corporation. This is a not-for-profit organization, correct?
This is a nonprofit, yes.
Yes. And in the notices that you received, it says if you are a corporation, you have to have a lawyer. Did you read the notice?
Yes, I did.
And then look at the bottom of the notice that you must have a lawyer to represent you as a corporation.
Okay.
Okay, so we can't hear this now. Okay, Mr. Kelly, what's your view here? What is your reaction?
It's my understanding that this is a first listing, so if there needs to be a continuance in order to get an attorney, then the city would be fine with one.
Okay. All right, Mr. Harrison, please
Yeah.
take a look at that paperwork that you received and read it carefully. If you want to, we'll continue this matter for today, but for the next hearing, you must be represented by legal counsel.
So we have to pay for an attorney.
Well, I'm not sure how you're going to acquire one. Either pay for one or get someone to do it pro bono, and you can. That's maybe a possibility for you, but that's what we are at the moment.
I appreciate your time.
Okay. All right. Have a good afternoon, sir. Okay. Let's please note that as a continued case. Thank you. All right, Mr. Wade.
Case number 13, hearing appeal HA 2022-004437, 1534 South 55th Street, Taryn Mason.
Okay. Taryn Mason, anyone representing that matter? And who's representing the city?
Good afternoon, Board. Caitlin Carmody on behalf of the city.
Okay. Ready? Taryn Mason. I do see Taryn's phone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. And you are the owner of this property?
Yes, sir.
Anyone else's name on the deed?
No, sir.
Okay, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, Ms. Carmody, I apologize here, Carmody, I wasn't pronouncing it correctly. So do you have a witness, ma'am?
Yes, the city would like to call Inspector Anthony Martin.
Okay. Mr. Martin, unmute yourself so that you may be sworn.
Yes, I'm here.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you. Let's proceed.
Hi, good afternoon, Inspector Martin. Can you please explain to us your current position?
I'm an L&I code enforcement inspector. Been with the city approximately Well, I've been with LNI approximately 7.5 years.
Okay, and are you familiar with the property located at 1534 South 55th Street?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with this property?
I did an inspection on that property and I was just recently there the other day.
Okay, and did you get the chance to review LNI's records and public records related to this property before today's hearing?
Yes.
Okay, if I may share my screen.
Yes.
Let's see if I can get this properly. Okay, let the record show I'm now showing the Inspector City Exhibit B. Inspector Martin, can you please explain what this is?
If I could see it.
Oh, sorry, I can zoom in.
It's the notice of violation order to correct.
And based on this notice of violation, when was this property first inspected?
10/20/2022.
And can you tell us about the condition of the property, if any violations were, what the violations were that were issued to this property?
Yes, at the time, the smoke alarms wasn't working. The carbon monoxide was missing. There was a leak in the bedroom closet. There was exposed wires in the hallway. The tub faucet leaked. The heaters didn't work. And I think it was a couple other minor violations.
Okay, and were any photos taken on this date?
Yes,
Okay, and would you recognize those if I showed them to you?
yes.
Okay, let me just scoot forward here. Okay. So can you explain just what's going on in some of these photos as I show them to you?
That's the tile missing from the drop ceiling.
Okay, and this photo here.
That was the bathroom tub leaking.
And moving forward, as well as this photo.
Was one of the baseboard heaters not working.
Okay, and just same question.
Right, a tripping hazard, torn carpet.
Okay. And this photograph?
And that's just peeling and flaking around the top of the ceiling.
Okay, and this photograph, if you will.
Water damage ceiling.
Okay, and this one as well.
Yeah, I think that might be part of the closet. I'm not sure.
Okay, so just to get an idea of the types of violations that were present, and did you re-inspect this property prior to today?
Yes.
Okay, and at that time, did you notice if any of the previous violations were complied?
Now, are you referring to yesterday or are you referring to my second inspection there?
Whichever the next inspection was, not necessarily. If you did an inspection after the initial inspection, we can start there.
Okay. Yeah, most of the violations were complied except for the that closet where it was leaking. It was still peeling and it still showed damage from the water.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, would you give us the date of that reinspection?
There was, let's see, let me pull up the exhibit.
Maybe Mr. Your inspector would know what date he would know when he re-inspected.
Yep, all the dates should be on my picture. Hold on one second. I'm looking at mine because I can see mine a little bit better.
Mr. Chair, when we're finished, I have a question.
Yes. Okay.
I believe that was June 15th.
Of 2023?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I would like to let the record show I'm showing City Exhibit H moving forward. And Inspector, could you please just tell us what this document is?
Case file summary report.
And the date on that report?
November 22nd, 2022.
Above that, the report date?
Oh, I'm sorry, September 20, 2023.
Thank you. And just looking at just at this first page, I know you'd mentioned the bedroom closet. So based on this, just this first page, can you explain whichever outstanding violations had existed? Or still
Right.
remained on the property, rather?
Right. The owner of the property, he corrected majority of all the issues. The only thing left was the bedroom closet.
Okay, thank you. I can stop sharing my screen here. And when was the most recent inspection conducted on this property?
Just yesterday.
Okay, and can you, because this was conducted after exhibits were sent to the board, could you just explain the condition of the property, if any violations are still present?
Yes. The property, it was being totally rehabbed. So he was working on everything, looked like he was remodeling everything.
Okay, before I continue, if I could just request that the exhibits be admitted at this time?
So moved.
Thank you. Okay, and Inspector, so were the previous violations, the existing violation, marked as complied by license and inspection yet? To your
The
knowledge?
closet, no.
Okay.
The closet was not.
The closet was not, okay.
That was the only violation left.
Okay, and to your knowledge, is there anything else, or what if anything else would have to be done in order for that violation to be marked as complied?
Only thing he had to do was probably paint the closet, remove the water stains or the chipped plaster or paint that was in the closet.
Okay. I do not have any further questions at this time. Thank you.
Okay, certain. Mr. Martin, do you have any cross-examination questions for the inspector? Mr. Martin, did you hear me? Mr. Martin?
His name is Martin. Mr. Tehran, I believe you're directing that question to.
Tehran Martin, I think.
Me?
Yes. My apologies, sir. What is your full name? Maybe I have something wrong.
My name is Teron Mason.
Mason, my apologies. I misspelled your name. So, Mr. Mason, do you have any cross-examination of the inspector?
I actually agree with the inspector. As far as all
No,
the
I'm not asking for testimony. I'm asking if you have any questions. If you don't, that's fine. We can move on.
Oh, I do have a question. Well, I sent the inspector the images of before where I was in violation, and then I also sent him an image of that violation being resolved. So I want to know what, like, I don't know where to go from there, you know? So that's my question. It's like, I'm showing proof that it's been resolved, and it was a different inspector who
Okay, well, now you ask. Well, ask him now, Mr. The inspector. Can you respond to that?
Well, I believe he just said it was a different inspector.
What I'm saying is this: as far as all those violations being in compliance, every last one was in compliance, and I have proof of that. So this last one that is not in compliance, which is why we're here, I have images of that being resolved and repaired. So what I'm asking is, like, where do we go from here, being as though I provided that documentation?
Oh, if the question is to me, the thing to do was to call me to have me come back out to verify that the closet was done. We can't accept your pictures, just like I can't testify to a picture that you took in court.
Okay, so this is what I have to say.
Now, Mr. Mason, wait. It's not time for you to present. Now, keep in mind, we're having this hearing because you submitted an appeal. So the next step is the step you chose, which is to appeal the violations. That's the only reason we're having this hearing. Mr. Tennant, do you have any questions for the inspector?
No, the inspector clarified the question I had in his last few comments. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Carmody, do you have any additional witnesses?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. Mr. Mason, is your opportunity to present your appeal.
So I just want to say one thing. As far as Mr. Martin saying all I would have to do is prime and paint and stuff like that, am I able to call him to come see that done so Because
Yes.
I understand pictures are
Yes.
not. Are,
Yes.
okay.
The answer
So
is that
can
you
I
should
can I
call the
schedule
inspector.
that?
Yes, but in the meantime, we're having a hearing because you asked for one. So it's your responsibility to present your case. What is the case that you want to present?
Well, I don't have a case now. The only reason why, listen, the only
Wait,
reason why. Listen,
Excuse me,
hold on.
Mr. Mason.
Forgive
No,
me.
no, no.
Hold
Listen,
on. Can
I get to decide this, not you. This is my responsibility. We're here because you asked for a hearing. And when you come to a hearing, it's your responsibility to, like the law department put forth their case. You have responsibility to put forth a case because we need to vote to determine the outcome of the appeal that you submitted. That's what I'm asking you to do. If you don't have anything you'd like to put on, you can say that. Okay?
Can I say something?
Yes.
This is what I have to say. I don't have a case. The only reason why I appealed this situation because the tenants who were in my home at the time made accusations which were false and which was later found out that it was false by another entity like L&I. So right now that doesn't even exist no more. I'm not operating anything. I'm just making repairs to my home. That's it. So I don't have a case no more. That's done with.
Okay. Okay. One related matter. If you're having, are you renovating your building now? Are you building on the renovation?
Well, listen, I'm new to this, so I'm fixing everything. I'm learning. I'm learning.
Sir, you didn't answer my
all.
question. You didn't answer my question.
I'm fixing. That's what I said. I said I'm fixing things as I go. I'm learning from Mr. Martin, you, and the rest of the crew that's in here.
Okay, we are not the crew. We are the Board of Illinois Review.
I'm sorry.
And the only thing I would say to you, sir, is if you're having renovations done or if you're renovating things, my advice to you would be to make sure you get the appropriate permits that are required to do the renovation. Okay.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any questions? Ms. Carmody, do you have any final argument?
No, not at this time. The city would just like to request, city affirmed with 60 days to complete the work and then to give Mr. Mason time to call for a final inspection to clear the violations.
Okay. All right. Thank you. If that's all from everyone involved, we will then call the vote on HA-2023-004437, 1534 South 55th Street. Tyrone Mason, city affirmed 60-day stay of enforcement.
City affirmed with a 60-day stay of enforcement.
City affirmed with a 60-day stay of enforcement.
60-day, I'm sorry, city affirmed 60-day stay of enforcement.
City affirmed 60-day stay of enforcement. City affirmed 60-day stay of enforcement.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the rule of the board, Mr. Mason. Of course, you may appeal our decision if you choose, but the appeal is to affirm the city's violations. We'll give you 60 days before any additional enforcement action is done. Okay? Have a good afternoon.
Mr. Chair, I think we should recommend that he calls the inspector out.
Yes, when you've done that work, please call the inspector so that a reinspection can be conducted.
Who do I call after that? Like,
you call you call Mr. Martin, and he will tell you if there's anyone else you need to speak with.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, all right,
Yes,
everybody
sir.
have a good afternoon.
Yeah, have a great evening. Thank you.
Okay, all ready? Mr. Wade, what do we have next?
Case number 26, hearing appeal HA 2022-004326, 5985 Drexel Road, Stephen Ortiz.
Okay, who's representing the city?
Hi, board, Caitlin Carmody again for the city.
Okay, Ms. Carmody, and who's we do have, I think, Mr. Ortiz was in earlier. Mr. Ortiz, you're still on the oath. You were sworn earlier.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, we can see you just fine. Okay, Ms. Carmody, do you have any witnesses?
I do. The city would like to call Inspector Robert Morgan.
Okay. Where's Mr. Morgan? Oh, yes. You unmute yourself, please. Please raise your right hand so that you may be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you give today be the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. You can place your hand down. Ms. Carmody, you may proceed.
Hi, good afternoon, Inspector Morgan. Can you please tell us your name and your position with the city?
Sure, my name is Robert Morgan. I'm a building inspector with the City of Philadelphia Licenses and Inspections.
Great. And are you familiar with the property at 5985 Drexel Road?
I am, yes.
And how are you familiar with the property?
I was back in July of 2022. I was on site responding to a complaint that was filed regarding a fence that was exceeding the zoning requirements.
Okay. And did you get the chance to review LNI's records before today's hearing?
I did look at the package, case package, yes.
Okay, great, thank you. If I may share my screen again. Let the record show, I am showing City Exhibit B. And let me move this out of the way. Inspector, can you please explain to us what Exhibit B is?
Exhibit B is a violation notice. I believe this is the initial.
And based on this notice of violation, when did you inspect the property initially?
July 27th, 2022.
And
That's
was
the
this
date of
by,
notice.
oops, my apologies. You can please repeat your answer.
Sorry, yeah, that's the date of notice, yes.
And notice was sent to the responsible party at the address listed on this exhibit, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did you take photographs of the property on this date?
I have, yes.
And would you recognize them if I had showed you those photographs?
Yes.
Okay, let the record show I am moving to City Exhibit C. And Inspector, could you please describe what's going on in these photographs?
Sure, that is a front yard fence constructed along the side of the property in the front.
Okay, and this photograph?
Same fence, different angle, showing that it's a opaque fence and over 4 foot.
Which exceeds what is allotted currently, correct?
Yes, it exceeds Title 14, Chapter 14 of the zoning code.
Okay.
Philadelphia Code.
Okay. And when did you next inspect this property?
I believe it was in September, later that same year.
Okay. Let the record show I am showing Exhibit E. And can you just explain these photographs briefly?
Yeah, this is the same fence. A few months after the initial NOV was sent, fence still constructed, same
Sorry.
in the same state that it was in
Okay,
prior.
so based on this inspection, there had been no changes since the initial inspection, correct?
Correct.
And what was the most recent date in which you visited the property?
I believe it was last Tuesday as a re-inspection.
Okay, and I will move to City Exhibit G, which is very zoomed in. Give me a moment. Okay. And this was the photograph that you had taken on the date listed on the photograph, correct?
Yes.
And based on this photograph, has the condition of the fence changed or the violations changed at all?
No, violations still exist.
Okay, and just to confirm, just to show the remaining photographs for completion. The violations were still existing in this photograph as well?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I will stop sharing. I do not believe I have, my apologies. And what, if anything, would need to be done in order for the violations to be complied?
The fence would have to be brought up to code, which is was a few ways. It would correct the fence as the code explains, 4 foot, no more than 50% opaque. above 4 foot to 6 foot, up to 6 foot, a zoning permit could be applied for and obtained. Over 6 foot, which it currently sits the fence, the city requires a zoning permit and an additional building permit for a fence constructed over 6 foot. So
Okay,
there are options.
thank
to
you.
comply.
And at this time, I would move to have the exhibits admitted.
So admit it.
Okay, thank you, Inspector. I have no questions for you at the moment. No further
Okay,
questions.
Mr. Ortiz, do you have any cross-examination of the inspector?
Yeah, I'll ask him a few questions. Sure. How you doing? How you doing, Mr. Morgan?
Good, Mr. Ortiz.
So yeah, I was actually there last Tuesday when Mr. Morgan was coming by to re-inspect. Just accidentally, we bumped into each other. And I brought him over to the fence and explained to him, we discussed some, basically we discussed.
Mr. Ortiz, do you have a question?
Okay. So Mr. Morgan, when you were inspecting it last Tuesday, did you notice all of the overgrowth coming from the other side of the fence?
I have, yes.
And did we discuss how that was an issue for me when, in fact, one of the reasons why the fence was constructed was because I had overgrowth of the fence that was continuing and totally just taking over my yard, and also the trees in the front. Do you recall
Yes,
discussing that?
you had explained the vegetation, yes.
Okay. There's another point. I don't know if I should upload sorry, I'm representing myself. I don't know if I should upload. I have exhibits to upload that show pictures and.
Well, the upload exhibits based on the rules that you were sent were to be submitted prior to the hearing. Did you read that and submit according to the instructions?
No, because I didn't see that in my, no, I didn't see
Yeah, it's
that.
in the notice of the hearing that you received. It's all evidence. Okay, so I assume you don't have any further questions of the inspector.
Well, I didn't receive that because I was fighting the appeal for the application.
Okay, but where
I didn't
we
know I
are
was going
now.
to go to trial.
Well, this is the hearing this is the appeal hearing, as I said to the previous appellant. You requested the hearing, and so this is what it's like. It's a formal legal proceeding.
I did not know that I had to upload anything ahead of time. I was told about having a lawyer on the document. I
Okay,
knew
so but
I would have to have a lawyer.
Okay, but Mr. Ortiz, the issue now is if you don't have any further questions of Mr. Morgan, we will then give Ms. Carmody an opportunity to call additional witnesses. That's how formal it is. We can't hear your part until Ms. Carmody completes submitting her case. Ms. Carmody, do you have any additional witnesses?
I do not, thank you.
Okay, but I do have a witness. If I have a question, rather, Mr. Morgan, did you ever determine the current height of the fence?
I did not, just visually, it was at my height, which is 6'1", 6'2".
Okay. Also, is that fence the high portion of the fence? Is any of it facing a street facing?
It is not.
So these are side fences or one side fence?
It's yes, front yard side fence, adjacent to the property at 5979 Drexel Road, front fence.
Okay.
Front yard. So.
All right. Thank you. Okay.
Can I ask another question, Chairman, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Also, Mr. Morgan, when we walk back to where my property is, my house, which is a large stone home, the door for the kitchen was approximately 45 inches. I know you didn't measure it. I measured it. I have the evidence, but I know we looked at it together. And if you can use your estimation, can you just confirm that the actual first floor of my home is elevated from ground level outside, and my door to my kitchen lead is about close to 4 feet high off of the ground. And that is adjacent to where the fence I constructed was. So my question to you is, do you acknowledge that as being a fact?
Yes, I can confirm that it's an elevated door suspended above the exterior grade, yes.
Okay. Can you also notice that when we discussed everything, I had mentioned to you and I showed you the wood from where the previous deck was built that I removed, It was there when I moved in and it was old and needed to be replaced. So before replacing the deck that was elevated up to the door level, I had to, what I explained to you at the
Mr.
time.
Ortiz, I'm not sure what the relevance of that is. It has to do with the height of the fence.
Well, the relevance is that because the actual door and the first floor of the home is elevated off of the outside ground, the deck that was there was taken down to be replaced, was elevated as well. And there was no fence other than the neighbor has a wire fence.
Okay, but see, Mr. Ortiz, that's no relevance to this issue of the code violation regarding the height of the fence. That's where we want to focus.
Okay, well, I was going to get to the height of the fence being that the 6 feet which Mr. Morgan mentioned was code, would be from the top of where the floor level is on the deck. And the door there, there's no way for me to bring the door to a stone house.
But you have to understand, sir, that we're talking about the height of the fence. And if there's a need for a change, that's where the variance requests come in. But for the moment, this is what we're only dealing with, the height of the fence and what the code says. And so if there's nothing else, Mr. Ortiz, now share with us your presentation. You submitted your appeal. What is the basis of your appeal?
Am I allowed to upload anything?
Well, Ms. Carmody, what is your view on this? I don't even know if you can at the moment. Ms. Carmody, what is your response?
The way that she showed documents, I thought.
Wait. You asked me a question. I'm getting her response.
I understand that Mr. Ortiz has not uploaded exhibits prior to the hearing date. I would be okay if Mr. Ortiz has photographs he would like to show. If I could just afterwards have the chance to redirect Inspector Morgan.
Okay. And Mr. Ortiz, keep in mind that since we have not seen these things, we may have, in fact, strike them once you've uploaded. Can you do that quickly, momentarily at the moment? Can you share your screen? How's that?
I will do my best. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Share your screen and show us what you have.
Okay. Okay. Can you see?
Wade, do we have to give him permission? We don't see it yet. You give him permission. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Here we go. Share screen. Okay. Let me do it now. I just changed the settings. I apologize because I really didn't know I was supposed to do it. I was here all afternoon. I would have totally. Okay, so I'm sharing. Can you see a screen now?
We do see a screen of a rock formation, I think it is, or a mountain.
Okay, do you see this white piece of paper here?
We don't see paper.
Okay, do you see this PDF file here?
No, we see the same rock formation.
Rock formation. Okay, hold on.
I'm not sure what that is. Is that a vacation photo or something?
It's just a desktop photo of something. I don't from the computer. But I don't know why it's not showing. I have the document open.
Yeah, if I may interrupt, this is Board Counsel Ryan McSherry. It might be possible that you have multiple desktops open on your laptop, and you might be sharing one of those, but you actually have the PDF documents open on a separate desktop.
I see what you mean. So if I move it over and I go to the other page of the desktop, that's the one you see open?
No, is it possible to keep scrolling?
When
it might be, yeah.
When you hit share screen, it should give you options of what you actually want to share, whether it's a program or whatever's coming up on your screen.
Okay.
Stop sharing and start over, and it should give you a option.
Okay.
Okay, now can you open their document? We can see it now if you just enlarge it.
Oh, you can see it? My
Yeah,
desktop?
open it.
Can
There
you see
go.
that?
Yes.
Thank you. So this is the frontage, like Mr. Morgan said, it's the side. There's a house parallel to me. My house is a twin. And I don't know if you want me to scroll or I can read it out loud to you if you like.
Oh, no. Describe what it is we're seeing. You don't have to read
So-
all the text.
So what you're seeing is the fence near the house, which is the highest point. And you're seeing the ground, excuse the rubbish, but from the ground up to the bottom of the white door that you're seeing, that's pretty close to like 45 inches. And the deck that was there before, to the left, you can't see it in this picture, but I have other pictures. There was a deck around that whole area out there that was up high. Now that deck was when I bought the house. We never replaced it because we waited until we were able to do the fence. Then situations changed and I waited. So finally I took it down last year but I erected the fence so that I would have the floor of the deck that came out would be actually the ground level, which would be, I would consider the ground level.
But Mr.
So it would be-
Ortiz, that argument doesn't change the fact that they measure the height of the fence from the actual ground, not the floor of the deck. So the height of the issue here is the height of the fence from the ground.
Okay, then I guess I would respectfully request a variance.
Well,
or-
this isn't the board that you asked a variance of. That's the zoning board. If
Okay.
that's the zoning board, that's not this board. Have you taken a look at the codes, sir, regarding building codes for fences, etc.?
I have since then, yeah, and I have, yeah, since this
Okay.
happened.
Okay.
Since this happened. Let me just scroll down so I could show you more clearly, see how the door
Okay.
is below, but you're telling me it doesn't matter. And this is not where I argue that.
Right. Did you get a
it
building
is-
permit for the fence?
I applied for one. You might have it in my records, but I did apply for one at the same time that I went down to apply for the application for the appeal. And they told me they couldn't give me one because I had to come to court and they had to figure out, I had to basically deal with this issue first
Okay.
before I was able to get one.
What is
Uh,
that you show? What are these other photographs that you're showing us?
All right, so these other photos are, it's the rest of my document. The other photos are, I'm so sorry. Okay, that's the yard. That's how high everything is. That's when I look out my door. Those are the measurements. This used to be dangerous for me because
Well, what is this that you're referring to?
the old fence that didn't go up higher than 6 feet because there was no fence other than the neighbor's broken wire fence. And I would, anyone could easily fall over the deck into their yard. So there was no protection there. That's what's showing right now on the screen. What's showing here is that the overgrowth, which I asked Mr. Morgan about before, continues to come over that fence. And every year before that fence was erected, I would have to go through and remove all of the debris for this entire length of the yard because nobody would do it. And I would get poison ivy, which I actually contracted poison ivy last 2 weeks. I have the medical notes, still have scars on my hands from it. I'm on medication, my last 2 days of medication from it. Removing where my finger is pointing, that's where I got up and tried to remove the overhang from the neighbor's home. And I got poison ivy from that. The second picture below that is an image in the corner where from the street where the trees that are there that are stunted in growth, because every year in the corner you see from the neighbor's property, there's a huge overgrowth of trees that come over and I have to trim them, but they stunt the growth of my other trees that are in that corner and they don't grow. You'll see to the picture on the right at the top, the wide shot, and they grow. They're not as tall as all the other trees because they get stunted.
Okay, but Mr. Ortiz, but relevance to the violation that we're dealing with today. So I need you to stay focused on that.
Okay.
Okay.
The house next door to me, because I know that, you know, you're telling me that 4 feet has to be, you know, translucent, right? Transparent, or 50% transparent. That house has an almost 4-foot brick fence that goes the entire length of their house, their property. I have all documentation of this. I have in another exhibit, but I won't show it to you unless you ask. The fence next to that, from the property next to it, is a 6-foot high fence that goes back 200 feet to the end of almost the entire property of their property. And it's a 6-foot fence that starts right at the end of that brick fence.
I'm sorry to interrupt, board. I think we're steering away from the main point, so I want to object to relevance on this, where we are currently.
Okay. And Mr. Ortiz, the objection is sustained. Mr. Ortiz, keep in mind that neighbors of varying types may have fences that are in violation. They also may have received violation notices from the city, currently or in the past. We don't know. And so just as you've gotten a visit because of their complaint, they may also be getting visits or have gotten them in the past. So all of which, that's why we ask each case has to rest on its own facts. So is there anything else that you haven't shown us that we need to see?
Well, there's a lot. I have another document with exhibits that show at least 6 other houses in the area that have extremely large fences.
But that isn't relevant to your fence because some of them may have gotten zoning variances to build a high fence.
I've checked all of their LNI records.
Okay.
There's nothing listed for any of them.
Okay, and if there are complaints, they will get visits from the inspector.
Okay, well, I was hoping to show, you know, precedents that it's been done in my neighborhood and that I am not the first person to erect a fence. And I have actually very good reasons. I have health safety reasons, and I have the reasons for my home being elevated as to the reasons why I have erected it at this height.
And those reasons may be suitable and appropriate for a zoning request variance, zoning variance hearing, but this isn't the place for that. Okay.
I don't know what else to say though.
Okay, Ms. Carmody, do you have any cross-examination of Mr. Ortiz?
Just very briefly.
Mr. Ortiz, if you could close your screen, please.
Sure.
Mr. Ortiz, so just to confirm, you have not currently sought to obtain a zoning variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals as of today, correct?
I was told by the people that I went and met with at LNI that I need to have this hearing before I do anything further.
And based on the exhibits that you just shown, you concede that the fence does exceed 4 feet tall, regardless of the height of your first floor, regardless of your platform, correct?
Correct, but it's not a frontage fence. So I don't believe that the fence needs to be 4 foot and opaque because it's a side fence.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Okay, no further questions. But I would ask though, I just need a moment with the board. So would you, Mr. Wade, give us a breakout room, please?
Okay, I should have it.
All right, thank you. Okay, thank you. Ms. Carmody, do you have any final or closing argument?
Just briefly, as the city stated, it's already established, and Mr. Ortiz himself recognizes that the fence does exceed in height. This appeal was filed about a year ago. We're already heading, it was October of 22. We're now heading into October of 23. There's been no changes as to the structure of the fence or any type of variance applied for to seek compliance. So the city would request that we would request a city affirm.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ortiz,
Yes.
I didn't give you a chance to make any final argument. I should do that. Do you have any final argument before we vote?
Thank you for giving me a chance to speak again. I would just respectfully like to ask that I don't really know what's involved in this. I didn't know that I needed to resolve anything. Ms. Camerati, I didn't know that I needed to repair this because I was told not to do anything until this hearing. And, I just ask that the board hear my reasons for this. And also I mentioned earlier when I asked for the extension that I did suffer a stroke in October, and I have a no work order for the entire year because in 6 weeks I'm going for a rotator cuff surgery, who's going to keep me from out of work for another 6 months. And I haven't done anything with the yard. As you can see by my pictures, I can't do anything right now anyway because of my physical conditions. But when I do repair it, I would like it to be safe for me because I am still dealing with balance issues and other issues that I'm trying to rehabilitate from. So I would just ask that. I don't know what the next steps would be, but I would ask that, whatever they are, just allow me to try and, do what I need to do to keep my fence.
Okay.
So I can build it.
Yeah, Mr. Ortiz, are you doing this work yourself or you have a licensed contractor working for you?
I'm doing it myself. I was doing it myself. Yeah.
You may want to reconsider that, but also if you rebuild that deck, be clear that you will need a building permit. So consider that.
Okay.
Okay. We will poll the board on HA-2022-004326. 5985 Drexel Road, Stephen Ortiz. City affirmed with a 6-month stay of enforcement.
City affirmed with a 6-month stay of enforcement.
City affirmed for 6 months stay of enforcement.
City affirmed 6-month stay of enforcement.
City affirmed with a 6-month stay of enforcement. City affirmed 6-month stay of enforcement.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ortiz, what we just did is to affirm the city's position here regarding the violation. However, we are giving you 6 months before the city can take any additional enforcement action. I would encourage you to follow the rules and to do everything you can to apply for a zoning variance if you want to keep the height of the fence, or call a contractor, have him reduce his height for you, or reduce the opaqueness of the fence. You have some options, so I would advise you to consider those options. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Okay, Mr. Wade, Ms. Carmody, your inspector is excused. And Ms. Wade, do we have anything else?
Mr. Reuter needs to put something on the record.
Okay, what case is this?
Hi, thank you. May it please the board, Leonard F. Reuter for the city
Yes.
of Philadelphia. I'm just calling a case that was heard earlier. It was one of the add-ons, number 40 on the list for that Ms. Dejanay Davis handled. That's 3076 Kensington. She had to leave and realized that she had not moved for her exhibits to be admitted into the record.
Oh.
So I would just do that on her behalf.
Oh, so ordered.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, Ms. Wade, do we have anything else?
No.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Everyone have a good evening. I'd ask everyone to consider who would
Said you wanted to meet with us.
Yeah, we just need to talk about the minute. If you can, just give me 1 minute. If we can go in the breakout room for just 1 minute, please.
Okay.